欧洲区 Expert 对阵 Team Wish， 第一张地图是诅咒谷。塔斯达尔，欧洲区最近是比较喜欢办塔斯达尔的。北美区似乎地位不高，亚洲区地位也是蛮高的。我们国内队伍 BP 的时候，好像塔达尔也会就是办的比较勤一些。毕竟他配合的一些英雄都是那些比较飘逸的英雄，比较适合那种亚洲队伍。牛头。按照惯例，这手理论来讲应该会拿一个辅助，辅助加一个前排或者加一个后排。诅咒谷，诅咒谷的话，辅助金龙应该不错。但一手拿的可能性，我觉得并不是很大啊。乌塞尔加格雷曼恩吧。
But in general, you can't go wrong if you have a Genji and an Uther on your team.
Curious to see if we'll see it.
原氏啊也行，这地图原氏也蛮厉害。应该这么讲，原氏没有什么地图不厉害，都比较厉害，只是有哪些地图特别厉害。像诅咒谷应该算是比较厉害的地图。就是在一些比较狭小的地方，比如说左下角的那个贡品跟右上角的贡品那个位置，原氏不太好发挥，其他位置都还好，都还不错。这手掏一个辅助，再加一个后排啊，麦迪文加后排，又可以看到 ADRD 的麦迪文了。
But they lock in the Greymane and Medivh. I think that's pretty good. Greymane, we went over it a little bit yesterday, but he's really good on the map in the PvE sense.
这第二半的话，可以考虑办一下辅助。
And develop that split pressure, which is really good. Medivh synergizes well with ETC and Greymane because they're both able to just play so aggressive.
Glarong, you've been a Medivh player for a while now. Is there anything that ADRD does with his Medivh that you enjoy watching?
The thing that
把雷加尔办了。
when I watch ADRD, I think he scouts.
反正自己应该也不太需要拿雷加尔。
One thing when
听位是可以拿一个精灵龙。
Well as I should, and I think ADRD one thing that he does really well is scout.
That's the thing you have to do as a team though, because if you are scouting out, you have to make sure that your 4-man is going to certain areas of the map and taking advantage of the vision that you get, and that's one thing that Team Expert has been doing well since the beginning of this entire year of HGC.
Yeah, they definitely have. And ADRD is so good on the hero that most teams are even thinking about banning the hero against them. So with the support
也行吧，他鹰杖可以防一下原氏的拔刀。原氏胜率还可以啊，52%，采样率比较高。
Just because you have these fast rotations between the lanes that can really help you, but I thought if anything they would maybe a bit more worried about Rega being picked up.
So the thought process has got to be something along the lines of Lucio's ult, break it down. It can counter Dragon Blade like extremely hard, and Team Wish, they already dedicated a lot to the Uther Genji combo, so they want to make sure that they get value. Like no matter what, their draft, one of their win conditions is allow Genji to get that insane Dragon Blade value, and that's just simply not possible against Lucio, who can break it down and speed away, because then Genji's not able to chase, he's not able to finish a single target due to the break it down, and it's hard to get those resets and pursue the fight. So I think the Lucio ban is smart, but at the same time, it does leave more of the traditional supports open for Team Expert, and Rhaegar is one of those that I look towards as being one of the best. But when you have a Medivh, that opens a lot of avenues and options for your support role. You're able to lock in more sustain heavy supports just due to the fact that they don't need.
现在对方有麦迪文的情况之下，最好是拿一个有持续输出的英雄。你如果全是爆发的话，打这个麦迪文不好打的。
Since ETC with the face smell can just really screw up the portal controls.
He's got two options to punish.
Exactly. So now that you have ETC also on their side, Medivh shines.
可惜小强被办了，本来小强配合原氏还是挺不错的。要不拿个 Terra， 这样的话双无敌保原氏拔刀，我觉得可以。然后再拿一个桑雅，
Definitely put a lot of work in there. Now we
穆拉
did
丁
get
古
the
尔丹
Murden on Friday, and Murden comes out once again here for Team Wish. They also grab Goldan.
这样的话有可能是双辅助啊。
He wants to pull it off here against Team Expert.
Yeah, so once again, Gul'dan first of all, and Poik had some fantastic horror fights in particular. We saw on Infernal Shrines one horror
that
fight.
isolation,
Exactly,
it won them the
game.
series. Like,
exactly.
it was insane.
这张地图我觉得古尔丹一般般呀，这个穆拉丁的胜率好像在欧洲区有点惨啊，33%，不高这个胜率。桑雅被对方给拿了，哎，这时候听卫士拿桑雅多好。 大雷加尔，总体上 Expert 的阵容还是相当不错的。那他们就没有拿单核心的格雷曼，加一个桑雅，我觉得是比较好的一个组合。
Good job.
I didn't intend for the pun to be there, but what I mean to elaborate, like Sonya in the early game, she tends to be the offlaner. But once she hits that level 10 to 16 power spike,
最后再来个什么呢？精灵
especially
龙。
with the Medivh and a Rhaegar, a lot more of that frontline presence. And if Team Expert opts in for if they decide they want that global presence, they can opt into stage dive, and Sonya can sort of act with the Medivh as the main tank role. Or alternatively, they can look for the ley line into mosh pit setup. I think both options are good.
看他是拿前排还是拿辅助。
Team Expert, it's pretty terrifying.
Now, one interesting part with this as well is that Expert in the past has shown several times leap, and usually when they go leap, the thought process behind it is it's a blow-up comp. You want to try and blow up pieces. With Greymane, you can actually make that
还是
work.
双
The
前
problem,
排。
of course, that you have at the same time is that Wish is running Uther, so a quick divine
Sure, even though we've watched Team Wish the last
left side with Bad Benny on ETC for Team Expert. Ethereal on Sonya.
总体上我觉得 Expert 的阵容要好一点，而且他们还拿到了麦迪文。ADRD 的麦迪文是，据说是欧洲公认的最强的麦迪文。我们来好好欣赏一下他麦迪文。在比赛里面现在已经很少看到他能够使用麦迪文了，因为老是被ban。这把如果麦迪文 carry 的话，我估计下一盘听卫是要办麦迪文了。特别像朱后木这样的地图，肯定是要办的。
Team Expert for sure the favorite in the series. Team Wish coming in here as a bit of an underdog, but an underdog that has definitely put on a clinic over the last
上
few
路
days.
推一波。
So if they can ride that momentum again, we might see them take the series here today, but it's definitely going to be a tough one.
Yes, they have certainly turned ahead.
哎，有没有机会杀？
Come out here and be dominant in the early game.
弹一下，被控了一下。如果没被这个控的话，也许有机会可以弹死这个雷加尔。就拔了一个门牙。下路麦迪文挂机，中间没人去。但是穆拉丁的清线能力不是很强，如果能够快速把线清到对方门口的话，可以让对方少吃几个兵。下路麦迪文守这两个人的话有点压力啊。
Yes, he is certainly one that we've talked about a few times in the last couple of weeks. He's been quietly one of the best assassins that we have here in the HGC. He's just one that delivers every single time when it comes to the matchup, and it's because he has such a great foundation in the team. Constant engagements from his tank player, Bad Finia, through always in the off lane. He is always that guy that will at least deliver the blow without really making a big splash.
And already Team Expert actually setting up a few little traps that they have here. Nothing really came into play and they couldn't spring one yet, but they always make sure that they have one or two heroes in the bushes to the side, just so that they can maybe with ETC get that power slide.
中间抓穆拉丁应该还是比较困难的。
So both of the teams very cautious, a bit of mid game.
再拔一个宝。前面 Expert 打得很主动。想拔两个有点困难吧，兵线已经刷了。他这种方法也是蛮好的，我觉得。就杀不到人就拔你一个门牙，这样的话等同于杀了一个人。
No one quite yet moving into the Giants, but with the tribute spawning around the corner, we should see our teams separate for that.
Yeah, with Rhaegar.
听卫士稍微有点被动，2分10秒钟，打个野，让雷加尔一个人打，然后听卫士这边谁能够单独打野啊？没有，这个就显得稍微有点被动了。上来再拔你一个，哇，这节奏把握得很好。牛头有 Q 了。 就舔一下，可以，这两个控制还是有点屌。这个牛头应该是大意了，他可以早点走的。 这样的话贡品应该是丢了。
They couldn't have wished for a better tribute up to the very
幸好是对方下路没打野。
It was expertly done.
It was expertly done here for Team Wish. Getting the kill on Bad Benny, the ETC. Now they don't really have to worry about those Giants. Now, just to talk about that, the reason why they didn't go for it, they didn't really have the easy clear that they wanted, simply because if you look at their composition, it's mainly Dahaka here and Gul'dan that clears out waves well. They already had Gul'dan on the bottom and Dahaka on the top side, but they needed additional help, because Team Expert pushed in that top lane, which prevented the Genji or anyone else from peeling off and trying to grab those Giants.
It's actually really interesting to me to see that both of the teams are on even experience right now.
麦利文下路防的其实还可以了。
Structural pressure the
3分钟还有一个外保在，但已经没有子弹了。他们这边中间游走好像拔了对方3个外保。
But overall, there is a lot more pressure from experts.
我来打野，天卫士这个野一个都打不了呀，这很伤啊。
XP that we saw from Team Wish gather really helped them to make sure that Expert doesn't get a lead here. And now with the first tribute in the hands of the red team,
其实 Expert 这个阵容算是一个比较全面的阵容，有控制，有爆发，然后防守能力还很强。你可以把麦利文理解为半个辅助。只不过听Wish这边的爆发和控制也都还算蛮足的，但总体而言，你在防爆发方面肯定是麦利文要更强一些。 投入也比较少，两边的伤害能力差不多。这个打不死了。中间古尔丹在吃线，如果被拖下去的话，对 Expert 不是很有利的。古尔丹切完线往上路走，能不能拖住？放了这个地方，古尔丹已经往下路走了。
heading to the bottom will be able to grab that experience. So their idea there was just to try and get a nice lead and experience.
双方都在上路蹲，打野好像是被发现了，被麦迪文看到，但这个时候如果去抢野的话是很冒险的一件事情。听卫士有点怂，有点怂，4个人过来抓，5个全来了。
He was immediately blocked out, so he couldn't deliver that storm ball that would have delayed it one more time, and then it was simply grabbed. And as you said, they were hoping.
谁更凶？占坑，雷加尔占坑，先杀这个穆拉丁，就杀他，跳走不用管，再打谁在坑里面就打谁，有这个门非常的灵活。 哇，牛头这个绕后有点厉害，被塔打了2下，差点挂了。死了，这个牛稍微有点过分了啊！但是 F4抢到了，这个波其实不亏，1换1抢了 F4。
Yeah, if like this is really the thing. He tapped at the fountain, and if that fountain progress, if the health over time would just tickle in a bit faster, he could have probably cleared the entire backline. If he gets a reset on his first Swift Strike, he could have definitely cleared the entire setup. But they at least got the kill against ETC, so they were in the end trading 1-for-1. The problem, of course, still being that they lost out on the night camp itself, which had now to be taken out by Gul'dan.
Regardless, in the early game here, 6 minutes into the match, and both of our teams are neck and neck in terms of experience and tributes. This is wonderful to see from Team Wish.
It's exactly what we were hoping for when we were starting the series. So both of the teams really neck by neck, and we have now another tribute taken. The lead for Wish in the tribute count, nearly the same experience. Master's touch, of course, here as Talons. And just overall, pretty much the game that you expected heading into this. This BlizzCon is on the line here. This is what these teams have been fighting for. And the HGC finals at BlizzCon, it is the most important tournament of the year. It is the tournament, and everybody wants to be there. Wish has been fighting hard over the last few days to at least give themselves a chance to make it. And right now, they are just
看牛头学什么？
at least the A game. And now with
跳水还是跳？
in play. This is where they really get
可以学跳水，因为后面有一个古尔丹在，还是学跳。跟格雷曼一起往前冲，人家小心一下对方的控制还是比较多的。这隔离对于格雷曼和牛头的威胁比较大。
Dahaka is in already. Keep in mind, leyline into mosh pit is now a possibility as ETC has chosen the heroic.
用那个盾和墙、盾和门骗了一波技能。 格雷曼这个位置不是很好，跟队友稍微有点脱节，但这个胖子还必须要清，可以让麦迪文去骚扰其他人，抱团把这个胖子先清了再说。卡在这个点其实很难受。
Yes, Team Wish is trying to divide Team Expert, but it's going to be difficult with Portal being available for ADRD. He can at any second switch around the entire
好好学习一下欧洲队友的拉扯。
fight will unfold just by putting a portal near his opponents. Grandpa playing very safe on the backside, having the divine shield.
侧面站个人。
ADRD with the vision, the
一边是袁氏，一边是桑雅。
a bit of a setup. Bad Benny just in the
麦迪文站在下路开视野。
He's lurking for that flank. He wants to see if he can maybe come in. And they have to be so careful of that potential A line. It's all about the wave clear at the bot lane in the meantime, where the teams are trying to get a bit of an advantage. And Poik in particular, with his wave clear, can of course make sure that his team is getting a
看看谁先忍不住。
tug of war that we see down there.
But look at the top lane, Cal.
感觉听卫士把这个点给让出来了，还是引蛇出洞。打卡装后排，麦迪文位置很糟糕，麻袋套上去有盾，开门，恐惧回来，但恐惧的位置不好，老奶给上牛的跳舞，自己可能要死，原是无敌拔刀有点凶，格雷曼这边门不能进。 给个盾，但是雷加尔被舔到了。刚那个麦迪文的位置不是很好，对方无敌拔刀没有什么办法。再舔有盾，再开个门走人。马丁跳过去有诅咒，继续追，至少应该能再杀一个。一技能什么时候好？如果一技能好了，我估计两个都可以杀。桑雅想反打，这个反打还是比较亮的。 他这样走的话是保了一下格雷曼，如果一直往前走的话，可能两人都要死。只要袁氏的技能一刷新，两人都要死。桑雅这个举动，我觉得还是比较明智的，这样的话救了格雷曼，而且对方在追击的过程当中浪费了很多推进的时间。
The mid fort should be able to be defended here with them having 3 targets. It's going to be low, but the top 4, I don't know if they'll be as lucky. With a massive amount of minions stacking up already, they will start applying the damage, and there it is. A couple of forts being picked off with this curse. Team Wish in a grand position to continue moving forward.
They took the lead in experience. They took the advantage in talents. They have their 13 now. The healing static power spike on the side of Muradin alone is already worth it here. And so crucial in the last fight was how they dealt with the mosh pit. That the moment we saw ETC coming in, it was really all about him dying super fast, and that was exactly what happened there. The isolation that we saw from Dehaka. And Dehaka, by the way, started the entire fight by using his global to move into the battle, but then because it dragged
现在听卫士忙着在想要控野，但对方有麦迪文，视野上始终是一个优势的。Expert 现在重点在于怎么去防止对方的无敌斩那一套爆发是最关键的，因为人家无敌拔刀，你必须要散，对吧？你要么退，要么散。这个过程当中，你就会吃到很多的这个过然的伤害，特别是这个恐惧。他们这2波大招一起放的时候，是 Expert 压力最大的时候。 麦迪文站位要稍微靠后一点，刚才他打得太激进了，我觉得。因为他这个魔网封印还是比较重要，他的魔网封印跟牛头的这个跳舞是 counter 对方爆发的一个必要手段。 只要你把对方这2个大招挺过去了，论持续伤害，其实 Expert 这边是不慌的。他们小技能比较厉害。
The kill count is also in their favor. It shows the aggression that we've seen. 5 kills against 1 in favor of Team Wish.
And with the Giants pushing on the bottom side, Team Expert needs to clear that up pretty quickly, as the next tribute should be spawning towards the top side, if I remember correctly. So we're going to see Team Wish and Team Expert fighting over that tribute when it does spawn, and it should be up relatively soon. Meanwhile, ADRD doing what Glowing
双方要么打个 boss， 刷了，可以考虑放这个贡品打 boss。反正麦迪文挂在脑袋上，这边穆拉丁已经往下走了，意识到了对方有德哈卡，有可能 boss 打不到，贡品也拿不了，能不能杀人？一技能没有被打断，还是比较忍得住的。 袁氏过来干扰一下，这话贡品也没了，追不能忍。
but of course they still had to commit to Avatar. And now he's down to 70 points or 70 seconds on the cooldown. Sonya committed to Wrath of the Berserker, but she's gonna have that up a lot faster.
Team Wish were able to grab that tribute also during that, with Dahaka being on the top, so I think a global down, so a good heads-up play for them as they continue to move towards that level 16. And them taking the fort in the middle will be able to allow them to jump a little bit further in that experience as they get closer and closer.
You know, grabbing that tribute is actually a bigger deal than it looks because it basically gives them 2 tributes for free. Since now they have the next one should be around level 16 talents for them, so it's unlikely that Team Expert is going to contest it, which makes the one afterwards a curse tribute once more. So that puts extra pressure on Team Expert.
还是要双方换 boss。Team Wish 打完16级，然后自己下路有外宝，可以考虑跟推一下。这两人过来干扰没啥用啊，他想用那个，就是想用魔网封印来抢 boss 啊！看 Team Wish 站位马上分散开，不让你大到比较多的人，知道你想过来抢 boss。 这种只有在搞笑视频里才能出现的场景，我觉得不太可能在职业比赛里面出现。要真的5个人被大佬 boss 被抢了，那真的是懵逼了。门这边还有个人要留雷加尔，麻袋套上去，幸好有盾，能不能走？恐惧回来，漂亮。
Rhaegar is down.
Yeah, Rhaegar is down. Can they interrupt Sonya on the channel though? Yes, indeed they can, and that's an easy trip.
我感觉这个古尔丹有点强啊。
But with a kill against Rhaegar, that was
老师这个古尔丹好像有点
and you
强
could
啊。
see that Poik was actually not risking anything here. He just said, "Don't really want to use my Horrify here. We should have the stuns, but you know what? Let's just kill that guy." So he
开门过去，无敌直接交袁氏这波没无敌，舔了一个牛头，2个残血，跳舞在哪里？哎，他开门回来了，被打残。没上，主要是雷加尔不在的话没奶，把对方逼退，再回来清一下 boss。
Divine Shield had to be used just to keep that Gul'dan alive, which meant that Genji couldn't dive a little bit too far forward. And with Team Expert spreading out on their engage and allowing only Sonya to go for that kill, they were able to pick it up. Now keeps take damage for both of our teams on both sides as Team Wish pulls back and defend the boss on the bottom. But Team Expert, with that kill, were able to save a keep.
Yeah, they were able to save their keep at the top. They have still taken a significant amount of damage, but as we see, so has Team Wish. This is not a tribute situation we've been talking about though, but with Gul'dan still not back, they can't really do too much about it, so Expert gets a free tribute. Now we're looking at 2 tributes for each of our teams, and that means that the next one is going to be the also important one.
Coming down to the wire here in the late game for our teams.
Also, something I want to highlight is the talent choice of Meridian on level 16. Now, he went straight into give him the axe again, more damage output on the side of Meridian. Now, traditionally, you would see the stun, you would see Dwarf Toys here, the heavy impact, but he decides to still head into a bit of additional pressure onto the targets that he can attack.
不管怎么样，刚刚那个 boss 互换下来，其实 Expert 是不亏的啊，而且经验几乎是扳平了。 毕竟多推了一个外保，然后下路2个门牙也推掉了。现在双方回到同一起跑线。Team Wish 中间多一个外保，其实这个无所谓，不重要。两边人头数 ，Team Wish 领先4个，但经验持平。他领先一座外保，这说明什么？说明在兵线上获得和兵线和雇佣兵 ，Team Expert 获得更多，因为他们这个清线能力差不多，但打野能力要比对方强很多。 Team Wish 后面打野必须要抱团去打，开门过去，对这个古尔丹有想法。马丁往前顶，打卡跑过来，上来就被魔网封印，但牛头被套了一个麻袋。这波无敌没有给袁氏已经残了，马丁也残，怎么办？危险！无敌给了，但是打卡被跳，会不会被秒？ 古尔丹为了去输出，无敌消失就被打了，啊，2个前排全部残血，爆炸。最主要是这个无敌一定要给袁氏，就是你只有给了袁氏拔刀来逼迫对方后退的时候，古尔丹才有很好的输出环境。如果让对方开先手，会导致古尔丹被打残，然后袁氏也被打残。这时候你无敌就你给前排好，还是给袁氏好，还是给古尔丹好呢？ 不能被动。死2个人，然后有2个胖子中诅咒，有可能要被一波。马丁没大招的。这个开门一波还是有点厉害啊，分散的很快。桑雅、格雷曼都是那种一波能力很强的。大家注意，这时候麦迪文推到后面了，没有站到人群当中，他是为了开门和给队友套盾，自己尽量不要死。前期听卫士还是有点优势的，中后期一波被翻。如果这个地图其实还是蛮有意思的，有的时候人家前面出发拿了6个贡品，出发2次诅咒，人家前面拿了1到2个贡品，最后15分钟以后拿了1个诅咒就把你捅穿了。禁区麦迪文也是挺强的，麦迪文原氏。
They've been fishy on this map.
I don't think they've been that fishy.
They haven't been that fishy, not like literal fishy, but they've been fishy.
I would say Probius over Murky if it's really an expert draft. But the thing is, in Europe, traditionally, what we've seen is, for example, Dignitas play the map a lot.
Yeah, and Dignitas plays a very push-centric playstyle.
Exactly. Dignitas, when they played it, and that was some time back, played with a heavy focus on global. So they would love to go for Dehaka and Falstad on the map. Had very cool rotations happening and very nice lane splits as well. When we're talking about Team Expert, they had some approaches where they ran AD-RD as a solo laner. We have seen them play with Probius, for example, in the past. And sometimes they just go for super hyper-aggressive moves where they try to get quick rotation.
听卫士先班先选啊！你看办麦迪文了。第一盘我让你不办麦迪文，打 Expert 不要想这么多，就办麦迪文。先办了再说。
One of the most standout matches in HGC EU for me was actually Team Expert versus Team Dignitas on this very battleground. It was really interesting in this because they had a style of composition where they could one-shot, but they had that double global, and they ended up going Syndragosa and securing an early keep, but Team Expert recovered from that position in the bot lane. Like, that game to me was actually wild. One of the most historic HGC EU games, and
but you are aware how much Dignitas, in hindsight, regretted that Syndragosa pick,
oh,
right?
I doubt we'll see it ever
absolutely. We probably won't see it again. But yeah, so Team Expert is a team that has roots on this map, and
you probably just triggered Mena. I know he's watching, and now he remembers that game, and he's just like, God.
No, that's good. That's good. In case we play them at BlizzCon, I want them to be tilted.
Dang, already coming out just like that. Well,
he's playing the long game here, right?
It's a long set up there.
Yeah, see.
Mena sits down to play his keyboard, and Glaurung's words just go through his mind once again.
Mena is already writing his tweet right now. It's like, all right, Glaurung, come at me.
Well, looking into the bans, first off, you talked about the Medivh ban, you're glad to see it, but I enjoy it too, because too many times this season, we would have Medivh come out in game number 1, and we would wait till game number 3, game number 4 before the ban came out. Team Wish not toying around with it, taken away there from Team Expert. But Zagara being banned out, this is something that we've seen from Team Liquid a lot, but it's getting banned more often on this battleground.
The interesting part is that ever since Team Liquid brought Zagara back on the map and started to use her as a global and also in push scenarios, other teams have been starting to experiment with her a little bit more and pick her up.
他搬这个扎拉应该是听卫士之前有打过扎拉，一手拿原氏，没毛病。这个地图一般来讲，要么是拿那种游走支援比较强的，要么就是把重点放在一路，3到4人抱团推，然后上路挂机就好了。当然还有一种，现在有出现那种2、3分路，也有。这个一般要求要双辅才可以，单辅打不了。Expert 这个拿的还是比较意外，一般这个地图在我看来可能先抢一个辅助会更好一点，比如说你拿一个莫拉利斯中卫啊什么的，对吧？或者你抢乌兹尔我也可以理解。小强加上这个格雷曼恩还是比较少见，在这个地图一手拿出来。
Perfect defense.
Not only on like the boss, but on the night camp too, because their attack rate is so fast. He's able to just efficiently do mercenaries so well. I doubt we'll see it here, but I've actually been having a lot of fun with Dragon Claw.
And
I
Uther
hope we
is
see Dragon Claw.
completely ignored here. Him not having sustain to really sit in those lanes. If there is a poke composition that comes his way, you can see that he has a major disadvantage on this battleground. And so far, Team Wish is not even going down that route. They got Rhaegar instead.
And I think Uther is kind of a detriment on Braxis in general unless you force that double support. Because the way like the laning phases end up sometimes, it's a long, drawn-out poke.
Yeah.
And Uther's not the best solo support in that scenario.
And once he runs out of mana, you basically win the beacon immediately. What I thought was really interesting that for a moment, Kel'Thuzad was actually hovered by Team Expert.
The ban.
I can absolutely
好像欧洲
see
队
that as a
真
ban
的
after Poik
不
showed
是
the
很
hero
在
hit,
意这
but
个
now
莫拉
they're
里斯
looking
中
at
卫。
Kel'Thuzad, they're looking at Gul'dan, Poik excels on both.
这个
so
英
it's
雄
like,
也
what
可
are
以
you
啊，
less
科尔斯拉
comfortable
德
going up
Poison.
against?
其
Exactly.
实清线也蛮快的
I。mean, there is a way you can deny
然后
both,
这个地
and
图
Greymane
前
Gul'dan
期
is a good composition, so banning the
兵线距离比较
KTZ
短
and then picking up the Gul'dan yourself
不太容
might
易
be
死
their thought
的。
process. But yeah, I mean, we saw it on Dragonshire. He had a phenomenal KTZ game, and the synergy between Shad and Foilp was really, really good on the Genji and the KTZ respectively.
KT out. Tacit are also being banned away here. Team Wish not allowing for that double support to come in for the opposing team. Now, do we see that Gul'dan get picked up here for Team Expert, or do we see a style that's kind of popped up a lot, especially in North America, where you grab a double support, put one in the top lane, with, of course, a damage dealer / laner, and then sit on the other side with a 3v2?
So from my perspective, I'd like to see the Gul'dan deny, and with this setup, you could actually do the double support with the Greymane in one lane, Gul'dan in the other. You have good wave clear, respectively, good trading potential, and then a new rock just rotates between top and bottom and messes with the shrines. I think that's a playstyle they could go for, but I don't know if that's overall what Expert has in mind.
Yeah.
Because they chose the map, if they wanted to do something a little bit crazy, it would be either on these next two picks if it's Cho'Gall,
不太可能是
but
格
if
雷
it's
曼
not
单
Cho'Gall,
吧
then they could last pick it. But I don't know, something inside is just
现在双方都还
screaming
没有拿一个那种
that
阵地
something's
战
up
比较
with
强
Expert.
的
I
组
don't know
合
what。it is.
With Expert and Braxis, you would expect something a little bit crazy to happen. One of the things that we
然后
have
上
also
单比较
talked
强的
about
英雄
with,
全部都还在
Hero on the map.
Okay, Sonya, Abba.
Sonya,
Expensive
Masa
usually
Iyer.
the Abathur on
Yeah,
Braxis.
the question
阿
was
巴
just, what
斯
does ADR play? That's basically the big question. So with this, we have him
Expert
now on
真的
Avatar,
是
and he can accent the Sonya a bit. I wouldn't have put it past them to put ADR in a position where he holds the solo lane on
他们
his
也
own.
也
They
是
put
和
them
那
all
个
of a sudden
Liquid
the
还
hero
有
into the four-man and try to play a way more aggressive four-man than
Gear
they
Force 一
normally
样，
do,
比较喜
whereas
欢拿
ADR
专业型的
just
英
says,
雄，
okay,
但是
I'll
他
hold the
们
lane, I don't lose
好像都
anything
是拿到
here,
阿巴
and
瑟
you do the
和
rest,
那
and
个
you
麦
really
迪
just
文，最
force
主要
them.
是 ADR 利
Sonya
文这两个
After
英雄比较强。
has an incredible match into Genji.
Yeah.
Post level 7, once that Poison Spear comes online, especially post level 10, once Wrath comes
Expert 的
online,
推进能力
if you
不
have a
强
Sonya
呀
with a，hat
这边
spearing
听
you,
卫士是不是拿一
you're
个
pretty much dead.
清线比
So
较效
that's
率的英雄？
something that Team Wish
拿一
has gotta
个
take into
马萨
consideration
伊尔
with this
再
Genji,
加
that
一
he's gotta
个
play a little bit more reserved and pay attention to the enemy team's
加一个闪
cooldowns
烂。
before he goes in.
I like the adjustment too.
库尔丹没有被
Genji.
ban ，
Genji typically makes that one-on-one on the top such an annoying.
双方
matchup
可
to
能
go
都是一个
into.
单服。
Sonya would could be bounce on
感觉上
any
听
point
卫
of
士
him
好像
dashing
也要拿
across the
单服，因为
battleground.
你
Now
这
that you have
个
the Abathur, at least you have
原
Foilp
氏
that can
单
make
好
sure
像
that
不
the
太
enemy
好，
team
原氏
counter
游走的
attack
可能性会
comes
比较
in,
大。
makes
那
a
你
good
这样
call.
拿一个上单，然后可能还拿一个后
Ooh, the
排。
Chromie, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I-
Chromie's
克
great
罗
here.
米
I like it more
加上
than
马萨伊
Gul'dan
尔，
simply because of looking at Team Expert's draft. Being a Gul'dan into Abathur, Sonya, Anub'arak, Greymane is pretty scary, but Chromie, she has the option for Ice Block at level 11 as well as Slowing Sands, and she can deal damage from such a far range, so I think it's a really safe pick.
At this point, Poik's hero pool just scares me because
What do you do?
We've seen exactly. We've seen earlier Expert like rotating between. Okay, do we ban Kel'Thuzad? Do we ban Gul'dan? He's great at both, and then Poik comes in and says like, you know what, guys, I don't even care because
Uzar.
you roll me,
Yeah.
and I just completely destroyed with it over the last few days as well. And he has his Tracer plays too. It's just this guy
Uzar
is
挺好
getting insane.
对方有个
And
原
now
氏，
Zarmany again on Malthael for that top lane. It's also going to be a great choice. for them.
Yeah, and be able to poke back and forth there. Have the Genji come in to help him at any point. Team Wish looking pretty good for this battleground. How does Team Expert round out their composition to make sure that they can win the beacon phase?
Well, they need a support, and I think they have a few good options left.
对
for them.
方
They want a
有
support who
克
has
罗米，
reasonable
然后又有
sustain,
马萨伊
but
尔，
at the
又有
same
原
time,
氏，
yeah, I
拿
was
精
gonna
灵
say,
龙。
like the Brightwing is really good because you can
这个
fluctuate
精
from that
灵
bottom to top lane, especially if you do like a Sonya with an Abathur hat top lane. If she gets ganked by 2 people,
万一啊，
suddenly
我
you
是
have
说
the
万
advantage
一
'cause
这
instead of
个
it being
他
a
一技能没
2v2
给
where
上，
who
然
knows
后
who
有
comes on top, the Brightwing
两个
phase
人
shifts
中
and
了
it
这
turns into a
个
2v2
克罗米的
with a
W
hat,
技能和 Q 技能一套
2.5
爆发，
versus
他这个
I mean, I'm
感觉团
on
战
the
就没法打。
analyst desk, but 2.5 is greater than 2 now. I can do that math.
但是他的吹风，
Killed
So they
it.
should be able to win that.
防止对方的原氏和马萨伊尔都是比较强。
How does it affect?
他比较克制这两个英雄，但是拿克罗米没有什么
Yes,
办法，
how does
只
it
能看
affect
他
the
这
team
个
from
一
the
技
other
能的一个
end?
释放了。
Long drawn out, yeah.
如果他能够提前释放一个 E 技能，抵挡一下克罗米的爆发，那还
For
是
the
可以的。
rotations, it's fantastic. And as you said, if you have any kind of setup against the top lane and you jump in with Abathur and Brightwing, you have a fantastic scenario where him in game number 1.
On the right side,
ADR 的阿巴
Team
策，
Wish hoping to tie up this series here. Grandpa will be your Rhaegar player. Mopsio back on his ETC. He showcased that the first couple of weeks in the HGC.
双方在线上的
playing
清线
Chromie,
能力
Zarmi
应该
back
是
on Malphio,
Team
look
Wish
for
要
those
略
Tormented
强一点。
Souls, and Shad playing Genji.
And Team Wish had a fantastic first game. Team
看
Expert
一下他
was
们怎
the
么分
team
路啊？
walking
克罗米
away
一个
with
人
the
去下
victory,
路，
but
然后
overall,
中间人
the,
看着，
especially early game
双方
of
都在
Team
观
Wish
察对方的一个
was
分路
very
情
good
况。
on Cursed Hollow, and they definitely showed why they made it all this way into the last best of 5, where it's decided which team will head to BlizzCon.
Warpaint being picked up for Sonya, looking to be a bit of a bully in that lane, but also helping it sustain against a Malphio that's coming your way. But if you think you can win your lane, especially with a Abathur hat coming your way, Warpaint can be a great pickup for that level 1. Mopsio and Bad Benny dancing in the middle of the map, but nothing happening quite yet for our teams. They want to make sure they get to the laning phase in a good state.
Yeah, and especially with Chromie here, of course, the poke is going to continue down to that bot lane. Brightwing currently set up, and everybody's just like shocking around now. You can see how Genji, for example, is also providing some vision. You can tell that Expert is looking for some aggressive openings already, especially with the globals that they have. Bad Benny eating a lot of free damage here, and that's definitely going to force him back, which allows Team Wish to take a bit of control here in the early stages. But it was pretty awesome to see on the minimap how they were really both teams.
Yeah.
First of all, playing it safe, trying to see if there's maybe someone trying to rotate in from the side. So for Team Wish, it was more about securing their laners. And at the same time, Team Expert seeing if they can maybe get an early advantage with a quick kill.
Yeah, that was quite the elaborate plan there from the Anubis to come all the way around the map,
Yeah.
but just getting spotted barely allowed for Team Wish to set up their countermeasures, and they were able to get the exchange to go heavily in their favor. And they're making
他
sure
这个打法
that
有点意思
nothing
啊，
fishy is going to
阿巴
happen.
策吃一路，
Watching
然后
the,
金龙
Fox
吃一路，
Roar
金龙
on the
随时
right
可以
side.
游
Oh,
走，
but
绕
wait,
后打
he's
这
gonna
个
get
克罗
caught
米
out。on the bottom side.
厉害
They did not see that. And
活生生把这张地图
Team
打
Wish
成一
will
张
have
游走
their
干个
first
头。
death of the game.
Yeah,
遭不住了。
Poix thought that he was absolutely safe because the
关键是
thing is,
Team
they were
Wish 这个阵容，
trying
他
to-
也
Team
不是
Wish
拿
was
那种
trying to actually control the
能
rotations
够
and see if anybody
速度
is
推进的阵
moving
容。
right
他
now.
如果拿一
So
个
they
什么
were
维
trying
拉、奥利
to
尔、扎利
control
亚
the
推，
vision. And Poig at that point just
可能
thought
效果
there's
会
no
不一样
way。someone is
而
approaching
且
me
上
from
路
the
源
top.
氏
But
加
Team Expert
马
was
萨伊尔
sneaking
推不动，
past
下路克
them
罗米一个人也
outside
只
of
能
the
吃
vision
线。
range, and that's why they could just easily jump in. And since Poig thought he was safe, he moved way farther out than he normally would have. So that's an early kill for Team Expert. Shouldn't become a big issue, but ETC is in trouble, and he's now down. So that's a second kill all of a sudden, and this is starting
杀你一
to
个人，然后再
hurt
推。
Team Wish a lot. Expert is really starting to get some momentum here. Half a level lead for them already.
Yeah, they're finding small windows and they are delivering, getting a couple of kills already. The beacon phase will begin. They have the bottom side control, and with Sonya on her way to the top side, she should be able to grab a little bit of the percentage available for her team, while ETC has just spawned and is heading back towards the fight.
Now both of the teams have taken a camp that has helped with the push potential, but now we have the lead in experience for Team Expert, especially thanks to the damage that they dealt to the structures at the bot lane. But Grandpa Kette is in
插起来
get stunned once again.
反跑可以，能不能换一个小强？插一下居然，我靠！他以为是杀死了，自信回头了吗？上面马萨伊尔传过来，羊能赚死。啊，这个 Expert 这个阵容打出这样的效果，还是有点厉害啊。
Before 4 minutes even hit, 3 minutes and 30 seconds have been here. We have 4 kills and 32%.
上路推的还可以，其实，
Yeah, Team Wish is
但是人死的太多了，死了4个人。
Definitely hurt them a lot. Expert, you can argue in 1 or 2 situations, even got a bit lucky. ETC, for example, surviving at the bot lane.
他们这个打法和我们就完全不一样。
At the bot lane, I think it was.
我们还是更多的时候会去以线上为主，最多还是游走去压线。 他们是直接游走压杀人。
Jumping in with the symbiote on Abathur, Brightwing is rotating quite quickly, and that just
关键你还能杀到啊，但是不排除他们警惕性不够强。
Now pressure more structures, gain more experience, and they will pick up a very early level 7 talent.
And Team Wish is trying to get back in the game here by
理论上讲，这张地图其实想要游走杀人不是一件容易的事情。一般来讲，跑过去更多的是去推塔。
Thinking about taking it, but the moment ETC shows up, he pulls away. So only 30% over to Team Expert. They have a level lead, but Team Wish is looking to stabilize.
Yeah, they're trying to stabilize this as much as they can, but they are, of course, still a talent behind. 6 versus 7 in levels, and that is
双方
reflected in the
各自打游击战。
Mopsio is showing Nick that he's aware of what's happening. But Nick is not afraid at all because
上面打起来了，三亚 Q 过去杀死了克罗米。
What's happening now? Chromie is getting picked off as well. Expert is just controlling this early game from start to finish. We have 5.
阿巴斯还在犹豫，估计他想学矿罗。
And Team Wish is suffering.
Yep, with the
基隆再搞到下路，他能不能拿回来这个星标？人士过来，没有前排在前面扛着，小强在往这边绕了。上面需要去个人，小强又在挂中间，他还看对方会不会往上路走。
And that right wing can jump in. So even if they are in 2 versus 2 scenario, they are very hesitant to actually engage since they know it can turn within.
他这个拿阿巴斯前期打得很凶，这种打法感觉我们国内队伍好像打不起来。 其实很多中小型地图拿阿巴斯前期压的凶是比较正常，比如说以前的天宫殿，对吧？就是拿个阿巴斯前期要不停的找对方打架，这边蹲了一波，杀克罗米，卡住，插起来先杀牛，再杀克罗米，有没有 Q 技能？ 上面阿巴斯继续吃线，你看他这个阿巴斯节奏掌握的有多好。刚才在下路，然后人转到下路来，上面就站了。虽然马萨伊尔在吃线，但是 Expert 这边线也没有丢，先把你人杀了，然后再把上路给拿回来。这时候你马萨伊尔如果再不走的话，就得死啊！他过来一个人，其实相当于是2个人，三亚过来加个阿巴斯。 杀你这个马萨伊尔是比较轻松的，其实。这波星标肯定是没了，下路推。阿巴斯可以去下路推，三亚也可以去下路推。他们准备推上路吗？下路用金龙去吃线，其他4个人推上路。
Yeah, they are likely to lose 2 forts here, and even if the bottom fort is defended, it should be low so that they can move in later on and simply take it whenever they please. Level 10, any moment now. Expert is fully committed to the top, and Team Wish doesn't have a single hero there. They are absolutely aware that if one hero shows, it will immediately die. So right now the fort is gone. It's a 2-level lead that we're talking about. The rotation to the bot lane has started. Thanks to the time traps, at least there's nothing happening just yet. But as we said a bit before, this is the jump onto the fort itself. And they are already moving in. They have their level 10s and they should be able to do a lot of work here.
Has to be a bit careful with that slowing stance on the top side, but ADRD moving in with that clone, looking to put some damage on that back line. Nothing really pops up for his team, so he'll pull away. But Team Expert has pinned Team Wish down in this fort area.
Yeah, but that still went a lot better than it should have, because the coordination and the approach of Team Expert was not quite what they wanted. If you think about it, even jumping the tower and the keep also the fort didn't even matter, because both of them were about to be out of ammunition already, and there were also minions pushed into the range that were soaking even more shots. So with level 10 abilities, they could definitely commit it, but once the copy is done, you can't really do that anymore. You don't want to
有吹风其实可以打下 boss 啊 ，Expert 这边可以强打的。他们可能想杀一个人再打，可以网，这可以抢过来。那个地方如果网一下，有机会可以留住人的。比如现在跑过去抓这个马萨伊尔，只要网住他必死。 杀一个人再回来打这个 boss 应该是没有什么问题。强打其实我觉得也可以，对方这种你有吹风，他应该是占不到 boss。强行推。这个阿巴瑟附身打马萨伊尔还是有点痛。阿巴瑟7级还是主 Q 了，没有学。 矿罗可能感觉优势比较大，看到在打，怎么样？敢来吗？有没有梦想？马上到10级，牛头没来，是要学跳水吗？哎呦！你这个时候跳过来有个毛用啊！跳过来送嘛，大哥！顶一下老奶给上，幸好有个减速，牛头还差1下。 马萨伊尔上来，没有老奶了这波。
but that's of course 2 kills against Team
他不
Wish.
过来，我就感觉他要
Now, I
学
feel
跳
like
水。
there's 2 things here. First of all, once that Genji dies, going
这个
in
延迟
with
太高，
ETC
没办法。
is odd. Let's put it that way. But if Genji actually survives, you could already tell that even in a 4 versus 5 situation with Malthael and now what he brought to the table here, only Brightwing on the other side for the heals, that looked actually pretty solid. If Genji is alive at that time, they can definitely take these team fights, and that comes back to what we talked about in the draft.
Yeah.
A 5 versus 5 team fight, Wish is looking actually pretty good there. But as soon as they engage into these 4 versus 5 battles, they are of course suffering, and that was the problem because ETC was just a bit too late. Of course, he was late because the level 10 hit that late. It was not that he hit the button today, but with Genji already dead, there was just very little that they could accomplish.
Yeah, I can see a world where they're trying to go for that miracle play, because remember, he did pick up base mail or loudspeakers at level 4, which will, of course, allow for a bigger knockback, so maybe he thought, maybe I can steal this boss, but that's really difficult against a Brightwing. It's quite
哎，2次信标呢，都是被对方 就是站满的时候自己1格都没站，好像这有点伤。如果自己能够站个10格8格的，那也好啊。感觉有搞得不好要被一波啊。这个机制基本上是一个100%的存在，关键的东西都没死啊，刺蛇、雷兽还有守护者啊，没有强推。这个刺蛇射的这个马萨伊尔妈都不认识了。
What Team Wish needs is to force a decent 5 versus 5 fight where they can take an advantage and they need to claim at least 3 lives and then snowball it a bit to take structures down so that they close the experience gap. But I mean, that's wishful thinking.
Look at these Abathur mines.
一个外堡都还没破，门外全是毒巢。现在出门有点小紧张。
Things are not looking good for Team Wish. If they make a comeback here and earn a win, it will be because of pure
如果出不去的话，这个经验的获取太慢了。什么时候才能到13级啊？我觉得Team Wish到13级的时候，可能 Expert 已经16了。看到我外面也全部都要被抢。
Team Wish and Team Expert continue to
门出不来呀。
As Team Wish is looking for that 13, about what?
I'll see myself out. It's fine.
Nah, man, you nailed it. You're good. You're good. They definitely will have to drop a few coins in the wishing well in order to make a comeback here.
Oh, I like that one. That was good.
Yeah, they definitely have to. I stole that from Twitch chat. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good one.
Oh, I appreciate that. A big shout out to Twitch. No, but seriously, right now Wish is going to get their 13 talent. That's something that's definitely going to happen. So
小强那边看着在打 F4。 会不会
会
打呢？再往这边走，有没有考虑上去抢一波？
Because if you let your opponent play around you, then Expert is going to do that until level 16, and then they are going to simply take a fight with a talent advantage and are going to wreck you. So you want on 13 to force a battle, if you can. There's still ETCs defending. They went into stage drive, which I actually really like to mirror the global. So I think that's something that they had to. But now with Expert on 15, get your 13 talent, force a fight. I don't think you can delay this until 16-16. That just
哎，始终被压着，这不是个事儿啊。
Yeah. Pushing in the bottom side, they can have 2 ways they go. They can just barrel down the bottom side, go in for the keep and go for one in the core, or they can even split push and go to the top side and stretch your resources thin, where you're going to lose the keep no matter what.
I mean, don't get me wrong. In an ideal world, you would try and wait for level 16 so that Malthael gets his momentum Mori, but he hasn't even completed his Black Harvest. He's currently sitting at 67 stacks and he needs 150, so it's way too much. But the rest of the quest talents has mostly been completed. Chromie, not there yet. She's on 37. But here's that Hail Mary that I just talked about. This is exactly that one move where they say, guys, we need to do something. I'm actually surprised that Expert doesn't call that yet. Expert
偷个 boss 能不能成功？可以，这个可以稍微缓一缓。
I'm pretty sure that Expert missed the rotation towards the boss.
Yeah, they did.
有原石打 boss 还是比较快的。
So they're able to move in and grab the boss, and Team Expert gives it up. ADRD is going to be cleaned up on that Ultimate Evolution clone, and now Team Wish, they have some stock here to try and get back.
Yeah, 16 is what Expert wants. Expert is going to be willing to give up a bit of beacon progress, especially since they know that ETC will soon have to go back to deal with the push that's towards the core here. But that's a little bit of progress that we have. ETC committed to the stage dive, which also means that the top is still pushing out. He can't easily move back.
boss 开始掉血了，两辆法拉利回家清一下，这样的话下面信标又没了。三亚想从后面绕过来，想找这个克罗米，但是他其实当时 Q 这个源氏，我觉得也是可以的。克罗米这个大招是有点烦，讲道理的话，这个减速还是比较厉害。其实他们可以考虑。Expert 可以考虑从6点钟方向那个地方往上绕，我觉得会更好，因为兵线那个位置比较开阔一些。
Wish has gotten the boss, so that was great for them. They have gotten 30% on the beacon progress. It's another win, but they are aware that they still need 1.5 levels for level 16 talents. So right now, you have to be careful about the top lane. ETC is there, has stage dive back, so he needs to make sure that he's not getting ganked, because that's a huge threat right now. That Expert is trying to make play for core. And at the same time,
这个门基本上都出不了。
So this is like that important dance. In an ideal world,
克罗米回城吗？
probably try to hold the top beacon instead, but
再包抄过来。
would be pressured. So they are hoping to get 16 by just delaying.
源氏是看到了，
Team Expert going for a large flank, looking for the Chromie.
只要马萨伊尔也都直接跳过来，阿巴斯大招开不开？吹风接了一个网，这个网和吹风感觉放的也稍微有点重。 还差一下，老奶给上，阿巴斯的大招已经被打掉了，但是上路了，法拉利又进家了。这个时候 ，Expert 的正面需要拖住。牛头又回家了，但这个时候牛头没有跳水的，这波可以打，直接顶到，给他们扑上去，源氏拔刀，我们来看一下。 源氏拔刀加上马萨伊尔大招，其实伤害还是很足的。小强应该是活不了，但马萨伊尔自己也很残。桑雅这个时候很无敌，很无敌。可能们能不能换一个？有阿巴斯，金龙的奶还是稍微有点不足啊，奶不起来。 而且吹风还没有，这波感觉 Team Wish 打赢了。但你要想拿到信标，还需要一定的时间。这个一技能没有控制了，源氏也不在，源氏上去拿信标了。金龙传一下阿巴斯大招复制，杀马萨伊尔或者雷加尔都可以。Q 过去转起来。 这个信标感觉 Expert 要放了。来得及吗？感觉来不及了。最后一格，刚好。
will get the Zerg wave. They have defended, they've gotten level 16, and in terms of talents, they're in the game.
其实 Expert 的这个打法，我觉得怕一种套路，就是2-3分推，特别是有扎拉那种，他更怕。他蛮怕推的，其实要看你怎么推。你如果有一路那种推能力又强、单挑能力又强、赖线又很强那种，像扎拉呀，你就很难处理了。然后其他4个人再选一个那种推进能力、站桩能力很强的组合，我觉得 Expert 这个阵容就很难打。 这个这个机制是比较厉害的，18分钟的，看一下能不能破一路。40不多了。至少掩护一下守护者，打一打，后面克罗米 poke 一下，再拖一会儿，哎。
But they don't commit to it yet. They are back in experience, which is huge. If they can get the keep, that would be fantastic because it would relieve the pressure from the top lane.
现在正面团战能力的确是Team Wish感觉要略强一些，主要是金融奶不起来。小强，没事儿。 刚才那个偷 boss 起到了关键作用啊，让Team Wish缓过来了 ，boss 又刷新了。先把阿巴斯打掉。
where they can try and play around it a little bit. But it's just amazing that Wish was able to come back after that beating they took in the early game.
And good news here, if you are a Team Wish fan, Black Harvest has been finished up on that level 4, but also Kuromi getting closer and closer to finishing her quest. 8 away from finishing the Sandblast and getting that Echo, which will be very helpful in clearing out those clones.
Malthael's Power Spike alone is fantastic. Now that he has his Black Harvest completed and he has Memento Mori on level 16, we talked about the synergy a bit earlier. This is fantastic. It's amazing for him in team fights. He can go really deep this is and keep himself alive. But Kuromi, as you said,
两边的雇佣兵对于听 Wish 都不是很有利啊。
And it comes back to what we said earlier. Expert wants to snowball early. Wish wants the team fights on eye level, and
牛头可能还是需要去稍微带线，其他人的话一个人带线有点危险。但是呢，牛头带线正面的时候呢，就是不太好打。 你没有一个前排扛着的话，对方小强如果强行开团就有点糟糕，他可以直接逆过来开或者网开。这种兵线啊，最起码清到中场才安全。可以考虑先占上路，我觉得听卫士这个信标，顺便把上路兵线往前推一推。哟，这边被看到了，哇，想偷个鸡没成功，强行开 BOSS。 敢不敢？小强顶上去，金龙可以 E 过去，可以 Z 过去。桑雅已经残了，去追。陷入之刀已经没了，哎，活下来了，还打死了桑雅，打赢了，感觉要翻呐！ 哎呦，小心小心小心！但人家还有4个人，吹风，但是这时候没有了，强行抢 BOSS， 打得很快，有袁氏，小强顶上去，顶上去的话，克罗米 W 技能有没有？一个 W 没有打到这边的小强，但是 BOSS 被拿到了，格雷曼也要死，翻了吗？还有信标。 BOSS 走的是下路，刚好他们的地图机制也是走下路，可以先回城补给一下。对方只有3个人，而且阿巴斯还上不来。现在最重要是打团 ，Expert 打不过了。 这个 BOSS 可以把下路的外保推掉，然后机智走下路。袁氏这个地方失误了，你往上路走啊，大哥！哎，这个信标被拖了太长时间了。下路桑雅又来了，还有金龙。由于兵线不好，听卫士需要回家防守，还没拿到，只占了60%。 兵线给予听卫士太大压力，牛头现在不能去带线，因为他不是当前排肉，他必须要在正面，所以他这个跳水作用就没有那么大了。
He will control the zones well there. Any covey will be picked up pretty quickly there by the Malthael with that curtain. There it is, already controlling the bottom side. If anyone walks through it, taking that Reaper's Mark and getting set up. It's all coming down to one beacon on the bottom side as we have Malthael standing forward with the slowing sands helping him out.
They're getting control again. They get the control and now
70%.
Expert is forced to do something.
上面法拉利进家了。 牛头必须要回城，被逼无奈。信标拿到，刚才那波哎跳下来找格雷曼恩闪现，滑步有进化，小强顶上来一个 W 空了，这边克罗米先把阿巴瑟打掉，很重要，不然袁氏很危险。 哇，差点被阿巴斯给打死了！这个老奶给不给？可以先不给，跟着机制往前推一推。上面对方有几条小狗，刚才那个也是帮助上路的兵线稍微缓解了一下。能不能破一路？这个对于听卫是很重要，他们现在兵线压力非常大。桑雅想绕后，这个机制一般绕后是比较困难的，马上就被发现。你看，因为这个兵是会主动攻击的。 这个时候我觉得Team Wish不能再往前深入了。第一是怕被包，第二就是上路兵线实在不好。Expert 想强留人，进化直接给桑雅，减速看克罗米的技能。这边原石拔刀，雷加尔老奶已经给了，死了也无所谓，奶一口，哎呀没奶上，但对方已经死了2个人，再杀格雷曼也得死。但是阿巴瑟这时候很凶，没有杀死1丝血。不管了吗？直接一波，对方死了4个，但是一波的时候也要小心啊！牛头回家有跳水，问题不大。再跳回来，原是要稍微远一点，不能靠太近。
Team Wish goes in, and that's the core. This is it. What an insane comeback!
这话双方是战成一个1比1平。这场比赛翻盘翻的还是比较刺激的。
Did you see Rega in that last fight? He had no hit points. He sees Sonya.
That was insane.
Have to endure it. On mosh pits.
看一下，第3场比赛是永恒战场。Expert 选择了 BP 权，上来直接他半裂空拿塔萨达尔，这个比较神奇啊。
But you can see the pressure on him when he's now in these scenarios where he wants to make that one stage dive where they force it, and then you have a scenario as he stage dives
like, I understand the thought process when he does stage dive.
That's where he needs to.
Sometimes it's not like the high percentage play that he might be looking for.
This is the moment. Like this is something that is for them a huge development process, and they've gotten a lot better with it. But on this particular front line, they need to have a little bit more calm and quiet, and just the confidence to say, hey. Not now, we have it later. And he got a lot better already with it overall. And that's for me, personally, if they can improve on that, that would be great. Because as you said, he's peeling for the lines and always like protecting
really
everybody.
Post-stage dive.
So good, exactly. It was great.
Expert 的这个队伍还是有点奇怪，他的套路跟其他队伍不太一样。比赛现在还是欧洲比赛好看呀，说句实话，欧洲现在队伍是真的强。他最主要什么呢？我不敢说欧洲第一一定可以赢韩国第一，应该还是5-5开。但是呢，韩国就3支队伍强，欧洲是有最起码6支队伍都很强，这个就有点厉害了。
ETC already is great, so with ETC I feel you can make
他第4好像4、5、6 3个队伍的积分完全一样，但这3支队伍也并不比 Fnatic 和 Dingas 差多少，就都有的打。
You can go even on this map into Prog Rock, even though it's not the best map for the talent, but
bit of a respect ban there.
桑雅班的，你们发现没有？现在就是桑雅加格雷曼的组合蛮多的，是吧？办马萨伊尔，最近好像露娜拉就没有什么太多的出场机会，比较少。
Mouth hail respectively for Zarmany.
Now that puts actually a lot more pressure, I think, on the offlane choices. So the Haka, for example, could now being picked right away.
Priority. I could see a couple of routes Team Wish could take, and like Genji Uther is still available as well. That's something they've shown priority in the past. It's like they're trying to decide what sort of team comp they want, in the sense that they could go double support or they could go like Genji Uther and more all-in style. And honestly, against a Greymane Tyrael Tassadar, I wouldn't be opposed to them just taking the back seat and playing the more slow double support. We're going to sit under our Immortal and wait for you to make a mistake playstyle. But, I mean, Shad has also shown a preference for that Genji.
Definitely true. Now, I'm curious on that part as well, but you're right. The Uther variation would be one, then you can go into the double support with Rhaegar.
Rhaegar, potentially Brightwing.
Okay, so there's our
so they deny the Arthas too.
So Arthas over the Haka and Rhaegar. So we could ETC again see with stage dive over Mosh Pit. Arthas taking the solo lane at the start and then ETC later on, depending on what the solo laner for Team Expert is going to be. But yeah, likely that we're going to end up with another support from them.
Yeah, Team Wish looking to have the hang back and wait, as you were mentioning here. Arthas controls chokes well. If Greymane makes a mistake with that dive, you're able to lock him down.
Turanda?
Could be.
For a fifth?
Could be. I haven't seen Wish Playtron, I don't know if they do or don't, but it is Battlefield of Eternity. It's one of her best
You have
maps.
ETC.
我觉得 Expert 这前面几个英雄选的并不是非常理想，反倒是听 Wish 阵容会好一些。你现在阿尔萨斯和格雷曼打泰瑞尔跟格雷曼打阿尔萨斯都不好打。他一手拿了一个塔斯达，塔斯达你保格雷曼其实也不是非常的强呀，格雷曼的持续输出能力稍微差一些，选的不好。那地图是永恒战场呀，那最后两个英雄打 BOSS 也不快，然后呢单保能力感觉上也不是很强。当然了，他的卢西奥加这个里奥瑞克打阿尔萨斯还是比较好打的。
However, Team Wish does have tools to deal with all-in playstyle. ETC into Tyrael, one thing to note, it's a very volatile matchup for the Tyrael. It's so difficult to get Sanctification off versus ETC.
Especially since with this setup,
再拿一个输出
a lot, like the main damage is on Greymane. So if you manage to control Greymane with Arthur's ETC, then all of a sudden you have
辅助当然也可以啊。
make sure that Expert doesn't
那比如说金龙，我觉得就
I
可
think
以
this。game's going to come down to Bad Benny and will he get Sanctification off without it getting interrupted by any of ETC's options or Vala with Rain of Vengeance if she opts into that. And what's difficult,
其实莫拉利斯中卫也行啊。
in that scenario is you just have your support pre-cleanse the Sanctification and it'll go off regardless, and that sort of synergy we've seen happen. But Lucio doesn't have a cleanse, so it puts that extra emphasis.
I like that. I like that a lot
Me too.
actually.
With Greymane being the solo.
最近这莉莉已经是第2次还是第3次登场了吧？什么情况呢？那我莉莉姐要回归了吗？
Speed into the fight. Tyrael jumps in, drops the Sanct, and everybody jumps in. And if you have a Tyrande, she's gonna die within seconds.
But a Lily?
Yeah, a Lily.
She'll get away.
First of all, she doesn't die. Point one, and the blinds are really good on her. So you have your second support, but now all of a sudden you have blinds against Greymane, and as long as you survive the initial onslaught, you are solid with this.
Support, or we can have the Rain of Vengeance just to make sure that.
Man, Mopsio again on this ETC, and as we
等一会儿我得看一下前期啊，他暂停了一下。
work. Exceptional, and that's something that Poik now
哎呦，
needs because
哎，
ETC
算了
is
吧，
one of the
反
best.
正前面也没什么大事发生呢，就磨了一下。
Just simply because he is amazing at creating space.
That he is creating space there actually, sitting on the bush on the side.
莉莉主义
Went for a push on the turret, but
是不是他们现在觉得拿莉莉去打那种单核，特别是格雷曼，因为格雷曼其实普攻占的比例还是蛮大的，对吧？特别是狼形态下的普攻。对方格雷曼如果上来的时候，我一个这个旋风过去，作用应该还是有的。他其他的4个英雄都没什么伤害的呀，就一个塔萨达开执政官的时候还有点伤害。
The level 10 abilities are definitely going to be a huge game changer for this. But in the early game,
莉莉是 A 罩杯啊，
on the Immortal, thanks to
奶挤得快，但是这个单下奶量比较低啊。
damage against the Immortal even more. And that is why we're seeing Team Wish actually pushing aggressively forward right now.
Yep, looking at the chunks there on the Immortal. Also, you don't really want to go a poke war against a Lucio too against your opponent. You'll eventually lose out with your own healers losing out on the mana. So Team Wish moves forward, gets aggressive on that Immortal to chunk it down. There is also the other side of moving in and
理论上讲，莉莉这个英雄不能做单辅，双辅也许还行，但单辅真的就不行了。单辅他这个奶太小了，保不住人呢，还不如选金龙，最起码还有控制。 冰柱一技能解，开加速，格雷曼上去蹭一会儿 BOSS， 这边4个人进行防守，还是听 Wish 打得更快一些。
Greymane has been delivering some damage at the top. An interesting adjustment here on the side of Leoric, going into Paralyzing Rage on level 4, so even more slow now on the side of Leoric, not going into Neil Peasants.
骷髅王怎么在吃蟹啊，大哥，你这个蛮有闲情逸致的。雷加尔绕后，这个雷加尔有点厉害，4杀型雷加尔，差点就死了。幸好莉莉挤了口奶给他。他可能是感觉对方队友会反打，这一脚差点把自己给捐进去了。
off to the left side, but still, this is the approach as we see Wish coming in again, stun circles on the ground, but they're still fine here. They go for the Immortal, and that should be an easy win for them. Or will it be because Nick is coming, and here comes once more Zarmany, Mopsy already the power slide.
哇，这个地方扔瓶子多爽！
Hold on to the Immortal for now.
骷髅王对阿尔萨斯还是有很大的威胁，又把Team Wish 打回去了，赶紧再去打一波 BOSS。中间人看着，蓝已经不多了，特别是泰瑞尔没血没蓝，感觉这个还是要掉啊，打不过Team Wish，但是护盾已经不是很多了。
Yeah, and they should be able to bridge this quite easily. So we have a half-level lead, but that should not.
还行吧，最起码刚才这个骷髅王在上路蹭线蹭了不少。
Against the towers, but yeah,
上面还拔了一个门牙。
and that's one of the main sources of Team Expert's lead and experience. So that should be negated once that the Immortal moves through the bot lane.
Typically, we get a wall out of this, not usually a force. With 4 members down here for Team Wish, that should be the case with Nick and crew defending the Immortal coming in. The shield gets deleted pretty darn quickly. Want to see if Mobsio is able to get a power slide on a juicy target. Looks like nothing is really available for the moment. Ooh, could have been a power slide there, but he plays it safe as they just take out the well and start to dance around.
Taking the well alone is already a big deal, and they get actually more than.
推的还是有点凶，第一个 BOSS， 而且护盾不多，居然把这个外宝推了半血。
Damage on the fort as well, as we have them still roughly on the same experience now as Team Expert. So both the teams are starting to slowly head into their level 7 ability. Lily, as we already pointed out before, went into Gale Force on a level 1. Mass Vortex now has a level 4 talent. So the increased number of enemies that you hit with your blind, which is going to be the crucial talent to take here if you want to make sure that Greymane is affected by it.
Yep, you are going to hit multiple targets with that Mass Vortex being picked up, especially when the Lucio dives forward as they accelerate into the fight with the Tyrael dive. Great pickup for them. I am curious to see if they're going to get that cleanse on level 7 here. They have the opportunity for 2 cleanses with Lily and Rhaegar, which could be useful, but at the same time, grabbing up that
上路能不能推掉？
would be great added DPS for that Volley. Ooh,
看一下上路还有多少血。
Actual damage here, the lightning serpent.
这泰瑞应该杀不死吧？人家双斧还在旁边呢。
维拉。
还好，莉莉这个奶的频率还是比较高，疯狂挤奶给维拉。啊，上路没推不掉，因为已经过来抓了。骷髅王还可以赖一会儿，格雷曼要赶紧走路。
has over and over professed how much respect they have for Team Wish since they said this is the team that we're actually the most afraid of.
Team Wish 这波推塔是经验扳回来，但是他自己上路的外宝也是岌岌可危。 稍微搞个雇佣兵推一推就掉了，他们没有什么人可以去打这个骷髅王，就一个维拉可以打，其他人都打不了。哦，莉莉还可以打，差点把我们风暴英雄第一刺客忘了。
In HGC that Team Wish took against Team Expert, and even with that background, Expert has said this is the team that we're most afraid of.
It's scary how quickly they've grown.
爆杀过来要杀骷髅王，赶紧飘走。
The cleanse will be picked up by Rhaegar. I'm wondering if they really needed that. You can help out with the slow from the Leoric and the Tassadar, but there's no major CC for the opposing team unless Judgment gets picked up. Regardless, one cleanse will be picked up by the Rhaegar. Immortal gets burned down already. Team Wish is in the lead once again, as Team Expert is just trying their best to trade out on the bottom side.
I mean, to be fair, what else do you want to take? It's nothing that really stands out to me that would give them such a huge advantage that I would forego Cleanse on the 7 talent tier for Rhaegar. I really like Cleanse, even with just the slow. That might be the difference between a hero dying and surviving. So I absolutely understand the Cleanse. You have a couple of talents that you can definitely think about. Even just cooldown reduction if you think about it. But overall, I would say that Cleanse is still just outshining all of them.
Well, Team Expert looking to get level 10 here, wanting to be able to grab that before the Immortal race is lost upon. Team Wish now has a chance to move in for a fight or to shshred out the Immortal. They do land a
这格雷曼一个人打得很辛苦啊，我觉得要下来守一下，不然没了。泰瑞尔马上10了，阿尔萨斯被吸了一下，很伤，直接推死10级，狂人2个立场一格，牛头也被卡在里面。幸好是 Team Expert 这边伤害其实并不是很充足。哦，也还是死了，我以为牛头可以走一走的，直接被干死了4个。
Lost out some health, but not before Zomni fell down first. Losing the Earth, it's allowed for Team Expert to get level 10.
阿尔萨斯太怕骷髅王了，也怕那个，也怕马萨伊尔。阿尔萨斯很克制格雷曼和丹哥这种英雄，但是同样的，他也怕格雷曼的诅咒枪弹，也怕骷髅王的吸。
Because I think that in the long run, Bad Benny dying here against a nice jump. In the long run, aren't they starting to lack a bit of damage? I really expected Archon from Tacita.
这个的确啊，领先很多的经验都是骷髅王吃回来的。所以说呀，对吧？吃线重不重要？重要吧？ 特别在前期啊，后期其实吃线已经没那么重要了。其实后期的吃线，重要的是把线往对方家里推，而不是获得这个兵线的经验。但是兵线经验总有没有好，对吧？但是它收益没那么大，因为你每一个级别所获得的所需要的经验，这需要多少波兵啊？可能反正是肯定超过10波兵的。但是你把兵线往对方家里推呢？ 第一可以推对方的建筑，还有一个最重要的就是你有视野的优势。像朱霍木这样的地图，视野极其重要。没有视野和有视野差距很大，因为你要教这个知王者嘛。你有视野的话，对方走哪儿你都知道，你就可以比较主动的去教这个知王者的宝石。如果你陷在门口，你要回去守，那你怎么去教这个宝石呢？就教不了。地图机制这么厉害的情况之下，控制机制是非常重要的。
Again, arguments being made for both sides, no doubt about it, but I'm curious to see how that plays out in the later stage of the game. At this point, what we also have to highlight is that Team Wish, as they engage into the
不过他4级骷髅王并没有学带线天赋，带线天赋是红色的。
They haven't evolved as much as other teams. They don't have the same amount of experience. Sometimes you need to let
它这个是不是减速啊？这个颜色。
and it ended up with
范围是什么颜色？我都忘了。
And it's been hurting them because 13 hits here. They're full level behind. They've lost 2 forts in this exchange. The immortal phase, they're going to go in at a disadvantage. Team Wish will have to fight back hard.
Absolutely true. So they have fantastic team fights, and they have a lot of resilience, as we've seen on Braxis, and they can always come back into a game. But sometimes they put themselves into a bit of a bad spot because they try to force too much. It's actually a problem that in the beginning of 2016, Fnatic had as well, and it took them nearly a year to completely overcome it and to have the discipline in these fights. So not trying to nitpick on Wish, but just to put that a bit of in perspective of how much room they still have to grow.
Which is scary, because they have more room to grow, and we've seen so much in the last couple of weeks. Well, the immortal phase begins in 10 seconds, and Team Wish is closer to level 13. They're about to hit it.
减速提高20%。对，我记得那个范围是一个蓝色的，它这个是一个紫色的，紫色的是减速。其实这个减速好像挺少的，一般都是学范围或者带线。他可能觉得这张地图带线没那么重要，但其实2线地图更加追求带线效率。骷髅王又去带了，正面拖住。 雷加尔也在下路吃线。
But let's see how this is working now, because this is 13 versus 13, and this is not the moment where we have these big team fights on eye level that we have to watch out for.
Still a note on that unyielding despair, great against a Arthas if you're able to get locked out, especially with a force wall coming in to make sure that they actually are able to finish that full duration of the Drain Hope. Mavzio, speaking of lockdown, gets caught on the top right side.
框住牛头，开启千杯不倒，能不能奶起来？牛头跳舞跳了3个，输出在哪里？复仇剑雨接一个。 哎，圣化挡了一下，反打，莉莉、维拉、牛头，这被隔了，惨！阿尔萨斯已经没有大招，这一下奶不起来了。一排大招过后，一个人都没杀死，这就很尴尬。 输出稍微有点不够。
Looking like it, yes it is. Curson comes in with the boop. That will be the final hit. The Immortal gets burned down, and Team Expert during the halftime show is going to the bottom side to open up the keep wall. Team Expert in the last 40 seconds has made impressive shot calls. Great team fight. The thing about that is Team Wish tried to take an Immortal fight underneath their opponent's Immortal and eventually caught up with them.
Yeah, and the sustain at the start looked great, but then the Sanctification came through, and that was a massive issue. Also, Mopsio went really deep, and that was when Lily actually used her jugs. And you could tell, I'm actually not quite sure that Lily was supposed to be the one that saved.
终于拿到 boss 了。
You could see Rega. Rega was trying to move top to save ETC, but that was the moment when ETC moved back down. And because of the terrain, Rega had to go all the way around again onto the bottom side if he didn't want to move into 4 heroes. So that's when Lily finally started to pop the jugs and try and get that through. But right now,
莉莉感觉还是比较一般呀，这个英雄并不是很强。这局他对格连曼的克制作用也没有体现出来，说实话。
Another case,
反正
though,
我
where
是觉得
Team
没有
Wish is
出来。
down but not out. 16 to 14, they'll defend the keep, pushing on the top right side. A shield is about 3/4 of health here, still willing to move on in. And Team Expert definitely have their eyes on the prize. They want this keep, and they're not going to stop.
It would be insane if they can save the keep.
这个内保应该是守不住了。
See how this pans out.
护盾太多，这框框的比较一般，想顶出来打，但是 BOSS 还有护盾啊，小心！还有一个先祖治疗，小心立场一格，隔4个。格伦曼恩还是比较机智，没有轻易的扑上去。 破了一个内保，可以了，心满意足，闪人。
But Team Wish still 2 levels behind and lacking out on the level 16 talent.
2 levels behind, but only a level behind in terms of actual talent. So they can get that 16, it'll be great for them. Losing out on the keep, that aggressive play for them was just enough to keep.
这盘两边的伤害都不是很足，
allowed for them to focus some damage onto that immortal, and that allowed for their core to still stand.
而且塔达都没有学执政官，蹲一波。看到了，等你先打一会儿，不急。
Could be in trouble if Mopsio gets the power slide.
哎，被推了一下。
Yeah, great boot there, but still they are getting.
这一框反打，大宝剑插进去，先杀阿尔萨斯，阿尔萨斯没打着，圣化等一波，你说跳舞一点用都没有。开启千倍不倒，阿尔萨斯能拿得起来吗？大招还有5秒钟，大宝剑卡住2个前排，卢西奥再往后推一下，很骚。格雷曼恩这个位置很尴尬，扑上去以后回不来了。泰尔这个位置恐怕，哎，大宝剑插走了。牛哥，吸，回头还想搞事情。 这个就不太好，立场差点隔到，隔到3个人的话就爆炸了。回头一个复仇剑雨，大宝剑卡住2个，先搞小妹妹，再搞老妹妹。
Team Wish wanted too much here. At this point, they could have taken Tyrael, sacrificed ETC, and traded 2 for 2.
刚才格雷曼恩扑上去被卡住了，地方太狭小，出不来。这样都打赢了，还是立场立功了。
And then with Holy Ground, he could cut off the retreat path of the 2 and eliminated them. So for Team Wish, there was a very, very difficult call to make. They are in a spot where they don't want to trade 2 for 2. They hope that they save Mopsio and then they can maybe even get more kills. But it turns out to be the wrong choice in hindsight, 2020 obviously. And they get cut off by Tyrael, who survives Vala's attack. And then he can just like cut the part of the retreat off. Everybody dies. And now it's just Expert again with another immortal. But
如果是个满护盾的 BOSS， 我是感觉要被一波，就相当危险。
Recovering from that spot would be insanely difficult. So this is really the moment when they know, okay, it hinges on this fight.
打完推完内保有可能到20啊，到时候可能是20打17或者打18。怎么说？我觉得Team Wish都要找机会，要么打赢团战，要么把 BOSS 耗一耗。
That's of course the big play for Team Expert, just delaying everything until catapults are once again on the core. But yeah, Rhaegar to go back and immediately that triggered Expert moving in. And Mopsio is once again low. Mopsio is here constantly in trouble. ADRD is putting so much pressure on him. It's awesome. Bad Benny being attacked. Lily already with the jugs. The 20 power spike of Wish would also be insane if they ever get into that position. But
哎，每次一大招一开，人家就跑了，不跟你玩。而且卢笑也需要点时间把队友的血给抬起来。阿尔萨斯开大招，不然被吸得很惨。你开大招，你别打骷髅王啊，骷髅王又不怕你的。跳舞没有输出啊，框了一个牛。先祖治疗还在，给不给啊？给晚了一点。 骷髅王后面主 W 了，再杀一个维拉没了，小妹妹也被卡死，一群大汉围殴致死。这个画面简直不能看。不管了，直接一波 ，BOSS 也不要了。
I mean, at this point, you go for the keep, you get it, no matter what happens, the keep is gone. and from there you should be able to also take the core. Even if you don't move for the core here, if you take 100%
20打16，这阿尔萨斯这局就基本上被赶着走，一个 W， 阿尔萨斯直接残血。2比1。
They just got destroyed every time. Expert with perfect execution and really good.
其实现在 BP 蛮有意思的，就你看到了格雷曼，你拿一个阿尔萨斯，人家转头拿一个骷髅王，环环相克。
They get
giving them the option.
Yeah, from my perspective. Yeah, I agree. He's also a very safe.
朱后木。
He has his
Team Wish 先班先选。
scenario, but Team Wish, they have a few options here. I'm curious to see if they continue to prioritize things like the ETC. And now I wonder where the Genji Uther lies on their realm of priority lists in relative to like the Vala. There's so many different play styles that I think your first couple of picks can indicate, which would allow Expert to formulate a counter. So I think that's why Wish is taking so much time in determining. Okay, they end up going Greymane. That leaves a lot of power picks open. But like I mentioned with Greymane, it leaves your draft so open-ended.
It's also, I mean, it's not really a deny pick, but it picks Greymane away from Expert, and Expert has now running Nick on Greymane 3 games in a row.
That's
so
true, yeah.
it has to figure in to an extent. What I want to know is, would you in any scenario, we've seen now Malthael banned out, right? And Malthael has been a huge staple for Wish in general. It's also the hero that allowed them to come back on Braxis. Would you ever put yourself into a scenario as Team Wish where you say on your next double pick you actually pick Malthael up because you expect a ban against him if you don't? Would that be too high of a priority for a hero, or do you something that would be justified even?
On a map like Tomb, I'd say an early prioritization of Malthael is justifiable, especially when you already have your hyper carry with good wave clear locked in.
这他们现在 BP 好像又把辅助的地位放低了，之前基本上都会优先抢辅助，现在也不抢了。但是麦迪文反正是一定要办的。
And on Tomb,
这时候总要拿辅助了吧？
And in Tomb, you can play it a few different ways. You can either split up your resources around the map,
拿个乌瑟尔吧，
that way, or do like a 4-1
拿个乌瑟尔，
where you just kind
加
of
一个前排，
to do his own thing. And Malthael is one of the best
小强也行啊。
to do his own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, other heroes to talk about against supports, so we're coming back to maybe
Uther
picking...
Stitches.
Yeah. You could also, of course, think about Rhaegar, ban out Uther if you
True.
don't want to run into the Divine Shield with Mosh Pit. I mean, they have definitely a lot more traditional choices on their second rotation.
Yeah, the Sigis stems from Team Wish running Sigis 3 times the last 3 times that we've watched.
Yeah, Bob said on this map they've played it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Johanna in the past, but they've been favoring that Sigis a lot, and it's been working out for them as a team. So I was expecting maybe to see that here, but we had the Lucio and the Johanna.
卢西奥加
You know,
乔
I
汉
like
娜
the。deny on the Lucio.
乔汉娜跟格雷曼的配合，我觉得一般般吧，因为格雷曼是要往前突的，最好是拿那种 poke 能力比较强的后排，像维拉呀、古尔丹呐，还有露娜拉这种。
And now we have what we just mentioned. Malthael has been such a staple that Team Expert, now that Malthael hasn't been picked
这样的话，我
because
觉
of
得
second ban,
expert 可以考虑
have the
拿
option to say, okay,
加尔鲁
get
什。
him out of the way, and that's exactly what they do. So hence also the idea beforehand, do you actually prioritize him even higher? They decided not to, and now...
然后打单前排，打这个不是单辅助，
But his Malthael
双前双后这样。
throughout the playoffs.
辅助可以考虑拿一个乌瑟尔，对吧？拉过来，牛头有空，然后乌瑟尔有空，直接把他秒了。反正对方前排是一个乔汉娜，你后排都可以再拿个凯尔萨斯都没问题，或者说拿一个科尔苏加德。
almost could bait Team Expert on their next round of picks to have picked the Malthael, thinking that they could counter it. But Expert had the foresight to see that mental game and ban the Malthael. I don't know if I'm reaching out on a limb here, but it seems pretty interesting that Team Expert banned the Malthael away from this position.
So
it's
where
smart
does that rabbit
it's
hole
good
go?
Yeah. I'm watching Athero really closely here because he's got a plan for the offlane.
Well, we'll see what's going to happen here. Last time we had Sonya banned, it's going to be a
Chromie.
Chromie coming in for Team Wish, so Chromie will not be allowed in the mix-up.
AD already hasn't chosen a hero yet, so
我觉得牛头克罗米加维拉稍微有点软了吧
This is one of the overlap heroes that they have, where you have seen AD already.
这是不是意味着 Team Wish 需要打双后排，或者说是单后排双辅啊？
Yeah. I think Leoric could have a place too for Team Expert's draft.
For both, actually.
来个加鲁什。
on it, we could see it on the side of Team Expert as well. When we're talking about Athero, they have shown sometimes even I mean, we're reaching here now, but even Alarak has sometimes made a comeback for them. Wouldn't necessarily see him here, but it's an option, and Hero actually likes playing the hero. So if he sees a chance for him to really shine, he would opt for him. But we still have Arthas around, we have Sonya around. Yeah,
they're still floating around, and we've seen a lot of Genji from ADRD.
Here's also the thing with Lucio now, we come back to the same argument with Break It Down when the Dragon Blade is being popped. So is that taking away a bit from the pressure that you can execute with Genji?
Yeah, I definitely think it does take away a little bit. Break It Down's just such a good response overall. They end up going Sonya again in the offlane, and Sonya, we saw the Brightwing and Abathur hat sort of compensate for that Malthael lane. The fact that it's a bad matchup. So it does make sense now that they ban away the Malthael, because they don't want that bad matchup into Sonya that otherwise would have existed. So picking away the Sonya here, Athero, one of his most comfortable heroes, heavy preference towards the Sonya. It makes a lot of sense they pick it up here.
We would still expect a second support for Team Expert, right? With the setup that they're running.
Yeah,
because Wish could even react now. I mean, in theory, second damage dealer, you pick Lunara, for example. You add even more, add another healer, play Johanna solo at the front. She has sustain, double support behind her. So Expert is probably going to opt into a second support.
Yeah.
This might be a little bit of an odd opinion, but I actually love watching ADRD play Oriole. So if we can... He actually like has stand-out performances on the Oriole. And if Expert can lock that in from last pick, I'd love to watch ADRD play Oriole on this game.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Like his Oriole, the Tamen Strike positioning in particular,
he just gets really good punish.
Insanely good.
Well, we're going to need our offlane here from Team Wish. What will Zarmany move into? We haven't seen Dahaka for the entire match yet so far.
Lunara,
还是拿了小路，
So they go into
但是单辅卢西奥不知道能不能奶得起来啊。如果说你把桑雅换成一个加尔鲁什，你看对方这个阵容其实就蛮好打的。
But now you have to have a support,
yeah,
right?
you need a
盯着
secondary
朝那
support
干。
from this position. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Oriole here. I almost would rather see a support that doesn't rely on the damage dealer to generate hope.
What do you think about Brightwing?
I think Brightwing's overall good because of the fact that you can have Sonya in the off lane play very aggressively, but still not.
要不再来一个加尔鲁什
，help you against
3000牌，
对。Also, if there's a really good flank coming from the Haka for a Tong, you could also shut that down before he hits the target.
Emerald Wind, you could consider to be a pretty hard counter to
估计他们会拿一个后排
as well, in the sense that when the team clumps up
或
in all
者
lanes,
再
as
拿一
long
个
as
辅助也
Brightwing
行。
isn't compromised,
桑
she's
雅
able
输出
to
还是
just
有。
disrupt and get away.
I was
雷
also
加尔
told earlier the
还在，
Brightwing
卡拉
tank
辛
is
姆
a
也
fairy
在。
dragon, so that would be our fifth dragon.
Oh, there
Which-
you go.
Which both of you didn't point out to make me look like I hate Brightwing even more than I actually do. So
That's
job,
our fault.
Tim.
Our
Good
bad,
job,
man.
Tim.
There you go.
it's like took
Okay,
one look at each
Stukov.
other.
You know,
Tokov.
That is
I
actually
was
not too
wondering
bad.
if they were going to pick the Stuk because they need a high sustain support against the Lunara
also-
Greymane, and they already have Uther to prevent the one.
这个阵容没什么梦想啊，感觉现在Expert 这个阵容打听卫
On
士
the
是
right
没有
side,
什么
in
优势
the
的。
red Team Wish, they need a win here to tie up the series. Mopsio will be playing Johanna.
牛头本身我个人感觉是不好打强的，但他如果有加尔鲁什的话，就会完全不一样。
Lucio will be Grandpa.
This could be our last game for the European playoffs here at HGC. If Team Expert takes the victory on Tomb of the Spider Queen, they would be the third team to qualify for BlizzCon after Fnatic and Team Dignitas. Team Wish has taken a map win in this series, their first map win against Team Expert in HGC Europe. But let's find out if they can tie the series once again and force the fifth map.
Team Wish opening up the map here, trying to block their minions, getting the fight a little bit more on their side here from Team Expert. ADRD comes in with the silence and will allow for the fight to open up with some damage. Bad Benny.
牛头拉回来啊，格雷梅没有第一时间打这个牛。
Just gonna be enough for him to escape.
Yeah, the
不过第一时间打肯定也打不死，毕竟人家是双辅。
he can slide out once again. Also
我拉主
Q
Q，
主
Q 的话清线会稍微慢一些，但幸好是听 Wish 的清线能力也不是非常的强。
Definitely a plus here as they are starting to take now the top lane with Curson.
Nick being quite fierce today with that combination. Gonna go ahead and clear out the top and middle side.
Can't go wrong riding bacon.
Or eating bacon.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with either of those.
And I mean, you know, the money pick, it farts money. It's like, you can't beat that.
I wouldn't say farts, I would say plops, but
Okay.
there you go.
Then plops. I'm okay with both. It's money.
Look at this matchup already as we have Sonya on the bottom side. Stukov continues to come over and help Zarmany here, but ADRD also goes up and scouts out the gank coming down there from Team Wish. Heads up play from him.
Can I just say quickly that I absolutely love that Lucio is making appearances in the meta again and that he just empowers these super fast and aggressive plays. I love that so much. It's so cool to see that. and Grandpa Keta is definitely trying to shine with him now. We've seen great Lucio play already, and the aggression that he brings to a team composition is just outstanding from an observer's point of view, so
yeah.
I really like that.
He's definitely switched from what people used to look at him as a
下路德哈的日子有点难
because
过
of。the 16 talent spike to now, okay, in the early game we
这个
have
分路
aggressive
其实我
tendencies
觉
that
得
we can pull off, and it's cool to watch teams
并不是很理
adapt
想
and evolve from
，expert 的这
And
个
one
分
of
路
the。highlights that we always
所以你
talk
下路
about
两个
when
人，
it's
他
on Tumulus
输出位是个
Fighting is
前排，
the
就意味着他的
short
攻城能力
distance
会弱
between
很多
lanes，where you can make aggressive
打得会
rotations
慢
happen, and that just gets so
后排
much
会好
stronger
打一
if
些。
you have Lucio in your setup, so you can make those rotations faster and really apply pressure. And both of the teams in
维
the
拉
early
打
game
那个
are
小路会
rotating
比较难
heavily
打，
between the
幸好
lanes
是
right
他
now,
辅助是个
trying
卢
to
笑
get，the pressure on, and you can already tell our team Wish is putting
这
personally
两下有点
quite low
痛
in。HP.
Yep, constantly rotating with Lenara. Shaddy
桑雅加
working
斯托
those
科
auto
夫
attacks.
中
Bad
间
Benny
有一
comes
波
around，from the side, looking for a power slide, looking for possibly Grandpa, but he's in a great position to where you
哇
couldn't get，
这
caught.
个走位有点
And
飘逸啊！
Shad breaks his ankles
小路
with
这个
the
走位
juke.
太飘了吧！
Jukes
我就感
out
觉
Bad
牛头是一
Benny
个
with
慢动作
slides
回
in the
放
wrong。direction. But a lot of pressure from Team Wish. They actually made it work at the top lane where they nearly destroyed one of the towers. But of course, this is one of the best tools that Team Expert has overall. Those constant silences that we are seeing with the lurking arm. It's definitely going to be something to watch out for later on.
Helping it wave clear, but also preventing their opponents from charging in. If you hit on a Johanna before she goes for the condemn, makes it harder for her to get the engage that she wants. She's already a hero that has a hard time with his engages. Luckily, with Lucio being on the field, Mopsio should have an easier time pulling that off. In terms of turn-ins, we have yet to have a single gem dropped off yet. 41 to 41 in gem collection between our two teams, but nothing going in yet.
Have you already talked about the level 1 on ADRD?
No, I haven't. What
We
got?
have Spine Launcher taken by him, so the basic
Oh.
attacks, instead of being melee attacks, they actually become ranged now and slow, but they deal a bit of less damage. And of course, for that, you have to know that Stukov, as a melee attacker, deals the most damage of any hero with a single attack in the game. He has a low attack rate, but still, he hits like a truck. And now we're already having this Spine Launcher. It's super interesting. I haven't seen this in HGC Europe yet in a professional setup, but ADRD, the mad scientist, is
，Team
of course
Wish
known
后期
to
应该稍
have
微强一些，
sometimes his very
感觉
own
上
approach
毕竟有
to a
小
certain
路嘛。
hero, even the
所以他
draft.
如果说
So
前
right
面
now
能
it's
够
interesting talent
把
to
庄
have,
者先
especially
交
with
出来，就
slow.
会很好
Yeah,
打
it。makes it quite handy. Think of a Dahaka gank coming in there.
而
See the
关键
Dahaka
是
coming
前
in,
期
get
小
the
路还是
auto
比较
attack in,
弱
slow
的
him down. That might make
幸好是
enough difference pop
Team
in there,
Expert 的这个
preventing
分路啊
drag from connecting on
不是很好
teammate. So interesting pick
使得
there
前期
from
Team Wish 还是
Team
蛮好打
Expert.
的。
As we continue to watch as Team Wish is starting to open up the bottom side of the map. They grabbed the Giants, they got 17 gems dropped off. At the same time, they can start to turn it on the top.
It's definitely changing the entire playstyle of Stukov. I actually really enjoy this. ADRD is always good for
有没有舔？
adjustment there. And he barely got out of the gank that we saw against him. So level 7 hits a bit faster for Team Wish, as they are now with a Splintered Spear in a great position with Lunara. Ethereal holding a lot of gems, but so far, the entire turn-in has really been dominated by Team Wish, who have turned in 38. They hold 29, so they should be able to make a turn-in happen around the top side.
他的
to be
宝石
honest.
交的有点慢
That's why we're seeing
，67个宝石
Lunara
一个都还没
and
交。
also Johanna starting to deliver.
Yeah, part of that was them grabbing those Giants on the bottom side, which brought
Team
more
Wish
wins
这
for
边
Team Expert than they would
控图
like
控得
to
更
admit.
好一点。
Bad Benny taking some
这
damage
个
in the
回头一个
middle,
Q
around for a power slide as
小路
Nicholas
被
forward
秒了
hungering
没
arrow
大招这个
delivers
时
the
候。
final blow in Lenara.
前期打的不要那么凶，他本
Yeah,
身
that was a bit too
格雷
aggressive.
曼
The
没有大
positioning
招，
that
也
we
没有什
just
么
saw
爆
there
发，
from
小路
Shad
也
was
没有
definitely
什么
too
爆发
far.
的，你这
And
个
that
往
is
前
now
冲打不
allowing
死，被一
a
控
hero to
直接被
turn
秒
in.
了。
They could even get the first web weaver if they play this right, especially if they get a second kill.
幻
they're
想自己
looking
能
for
够
one
杀
now.
这个牛。
But with
这一
Lunara
死的话，
coming
也
back in
许
a second,
庄者会
maybe
被
the
对方给
interrupts
交
are
出
there.
来。
23 against 48 turned in, 2 missing on the side of the team in red, but already Bad
有
Benny
的刚好
again
27
on
个
the
宝石。
turn in. Nice
哎，
zoning,
可
but
以
the
打断一
interrupt
下
thanks to Greymane.
但是第二次谁打断呢？
This time will not be
乔汉
interrupted.
娜
Lucio
血
is
比
a
较
bit
少，
too
上不
slow,
去，
and thanks to the
还被
killing
Expert 把
Lunara
庄者给
and
交出来，
Seth
这有点
out of
伤。
position in that mid lane fight. We have Team Expert
前期的优势
surpassing
全没
Team
了。
Wish with the turned in gems, and they get the first wave.
But look topside there. Vola and ETC were setting up a fight for Greymane, and Bad Benny will take a little bit more damage than he was expecting to. Should be able to get healed on up, but Team Wish still answering back despite the turn-in happening here for Team Expert. And they also push out a majority of the lanes, which makes it much easier for them to defend this push coming their way.
Yeah, so at this point they are already trying, as you said, to defend, and of course lane control helps with that. If you push the lanes out quite far, then it means the web weavers are gonna join a bit later.
Oh, the silence! That
Good
means
哇，这个
kill
乔汉娜
against
直接就被搞
Johanna.
死
No
了。
iron skin here.
she couldn't pop her
也
iron
跟
skin. She
辅
turned
助有
around
关系吧，我
and
觉得
did a
卢
little
笑这个
harassment, but
奶
the
实
sound
在
coming
是
out
没
from
什
the
么太好的
HRD
办法。
and the slow beforehand
即
made
便
it
是他
harder
有
for
强
her
音
to
的时候，
walk
都不见
away.
得可以奶起来。
Oh boy, I saw him die there.
Expert 这个队伍集火能力还可以。看了刚才美洲区的 Gear Force 的集火，再看 Expert 的集火，感觉哇，好强啊！
With the heroic abilities just now coming online, they don't only go through the wall, but they have the opportunity to go for the fort itself, and that's of course exactly what they're doing here. So that is an entire level lead for Team Wish, and sorry, for Team Expert. And Team Wish has now to somehow try and get their turn-in completed when they hit their own heroic abilities.
Yep, losing that Johanna definitely hurt Team Expert Team Wish pretty handily. Team Expert in a spot where they can get ready for the next turn-in. They just need 3 more, but Team Wish only needs to drop off 2 to get themselves their own turn-in. They will hit level 10, and with Thornwood Vines, they'll be able to poke.
Yeah, and right now, that's of course. Okay, for a second I thought Johanna might actually go into Falling Sword here. I'm like, this is not the new Johanna patch just yet, where you have more utility out of it. So we are seeing Blessed Shield coming out, especially against INTEC. You want to have that interrupt. So right now, Bad Benny already a bit on the chase.
突然这个手机上
You need their turn in
微信里面跳了个红包。
Seems like he's splitting. Here comes the silence once again. And now all even committing to
这个音障放的也没什么卵
that was
用啊。
unexpected that Lucio in this case actually going to go and drop the beat and that
拖吧，拖到后期还是可以打。
Yeah, in the moment it makes sense. Like if you lose Johanna,
最大的问题就是这个辅
they
助，
think, all right, maybe we have to force.
拿一个雷加尔，我觉得都比这个卢肖要好。卢肖更多时候我觉得是为了配合前排，而不是后排。
Johanna, by the way, also used Iron Skins. They used both at the same time.
Well, that is going to hurt them here, as Team Wish will have to deal with a second turn-in coming in from Team Expert. Remember, the fort was lost on the top side, and now other forts will be the target for Team Expert. Middle and bottom continue to stand. The middle one should be able to be defended with the Merc camp being grabbed by Team Wish, but at the same time, Team Expert grabs their own mercenary camp. They're hoping to push back.
结果指王者守得好的话还能搞，守得不好的话，拉开2级的差距就很难打。到了13级，小度的伤害也打不出来。
If Team Expert gets a level 13 talent and increases the difference between experience between the 2 teams a bit more, then it would just simply mean that Wish is on the back foot for a long, long time here. So let's see how Wish.
硬守中间，守完中间去守下路。
Pointed out Lunara earlier a bit. With the Thornwood Vines.
中间还有波 F4啊，有点伤啊，这波 F4。这外保恐怕是守不住了。
But also the camp moving through the bot lane, and that fort has absolutely no chance.
内保的门牙可能都要受伤，这样的话下路没人守，下路也要掉。
The web weaver already at half health. The bottom one pushing by itself. Team Expert is looking to open up this map and grab all 3 forts already.
Yeah, and the bot lane.
给他们这个什么站位？这个位置怎么活啊？再接跳舞。 哎，差点换了一个，还好无敌给的比较快，麻袋套的不错，但是并没有什么卵用，奶不起来。鹰杖刚才好像还没保到那个格雷曼，范围太小。
A little anti-synergy there from Team Expert, but they make it work with the Divine Shield. They get the keep wall. They head to the top.
下了外保还有一丝血，血崩啊！2级的差距，感觉已经差不多走远了。唯一的好消息是什么？就是宝石掉的并不是很多。 而且已经交了48个了，这波拿指王者守一下这个 boss 吧。
So every single time that you have a target that is inside the lurking arm, you can root them for 2 seconds if you can detonate a pustule on them. So after we've seen already slow on level 1 prioritized, it's even more about CC and control from him. And if you think about how often we've seen Johanna now in trouble in these situations where she had to move out of the lurking arm range just to make sure that she wouldn't die and could pop her Iron Skin, this is going to make it even harder.
Very difficult there for the Johanna to get away. Team Wish did get the turn in while the boss was being grabbed. So they are aiming to do some damage in the middle and the bottom side, but Team Expert with the boss being grabbed has Dahaka on the top, and they easily defend.
I love how ADRD has these approaches where he, like the way he thinks about the game. His ideas don't always work out. Sometimes they really backfire, and it just doesn't.
内保还在，可以打，马上13级。打卡再吃一波兵。 现在宝石看一下够不够再交一波。
And he is just one of the players in the game that is always coming up with new ideas and new approaches to team fights.
哎，之王者走到门口都已经没血了。
Quite a lot for them and can oftentimes make the difference.
抓特卡
Sometimes it
卡，
backfires, but it's just awesome to see that he just doesn't always go with the status quo.
Finding those niche cases and making it work. Team
漂亮，这个躲的。
continue to do that.
如果舔到的话，还是有机会可以杀的。
Defending, they're in the top side, working on team
格雷曼，又是你，怎么又是你？鹰杖没保到。哎呦喂，麻袋套了牛头，还在往前顶，
At this point, they are once more on the run.
开加速，赶紧闪
Thanks
人
to。Grand Paqueta, they run pretty fast. So Lucio
2次
helps
格雷曼
them to
站位
not
太
be
靠
out of
前
the
被
fight
秒
and
了
not。lose more than that. But if you look at the experience and talents, then of course you can already tell that this is bad news. We have Team Expert about to hit level 16, and that is nearly a 3-level lead. Make it 2.5, where they grab the extra talent, and they also have enough gems to
现
turn
在
in for the
expert 的
third
宝石
time.
够了，
Team
再
Wish has
交一
only
波，
gotten a
看看能不能
one
破路
single。turn in.
赶紧打
They
F4。
didn't really get a whole lot of value out of it. They
Yeah.
haven't dropped a
因为
single
expert 还是
kill.
比较坏的，
So
没
now all of a
没
sudden,
急着
with
全
the
交。
taking here at the bot lane,
下面先打个胖子，
Expert
把
can
自己
go
F4
for
也
turning,
清，利用这个
time
野
with
怪加上
both
之王者
camps
一起
taken
推。
even, and put
这样的话，
heavy
听卫
pressure
士
on
敢不敢
every
前面
single
做点文
lane
章
and，attempt
不
to
让
make
对
it
方
really
交
get
之王者？
Hoping Team
差
Wish
2
here
级，
is not ran out of steam.
拖
As
16的
they
话，对方有
really
可能
need
就
to
20
finish
了
coming their way, full talent behind.
不
Weber
敢
is
上。
moving in with the Giants on the bottom side. Team Expert in a full healthy state as well. They have Mosh Pit up, they have Strafe up.
现在就别来了，
Shield
现在来不
They
是
are
送吗？
looking for a fight, want to gain another advantage over Team Wish as they move in and look for key
听卫这边
factors
像
on the
宝
board.
石踹的还是
Yeah,
比较
right
多
now,
的。
this is of course the dream for them. They can really push with all the advantages.
啊，中间这个 F4 还是挡了一
They
点
have
时
camps
间的，
pushing the lanes, they
这把
have
兵
the
线把它控
objective
制在
on
中
their
间，
side, and they have a talent
这
and
样
level
给了
advantage.
防守方一点缓
Level
冲，
advantage itself,
下路就不用
something
管
that
了，
actually
主要
a lot
是
of
守
people
中间。
neglect. It doesn't
上
give
路我
you
记得门牙也是
advantage
没有
in
了，
talents, of course, or in this case
主要
it
是
does
中路和
because
上
of
路比较危
16
险。
versus 14, but it also gives you a stats advantage, and that can sometimes make
一
a
组
huge
F4
difference,
加一
especially
个
if
之
you're
王者，
3-4 levels ahead.
这个内
So
保
that's
能守
another
住吗？
thing to definitely pay attention to. The fountain already gone.
幸好
as
是
they are
兵线
pushing
距离
through
还是
the
比较
mid
远。
lane. Sonya is making her way down as well. Was
而且
preparing
小
the
路是
top
藤
lane
条，
for a bit longer. Every
消耗
single
起来
team
还是
is
比较
gonna be on
强
the
的。
attack here in a few seconds.
They are. They keep in the middle, taking some damage
想要
already.
打，
Wanna hoping to stop it as
就打一
Mosh
波
forward with a
不行就要回去守。
and condemn. The heals come out
隔
from
离
the
给了
around and，
小心
attack.
牛头，
Isolation will hit
鹰杖
Sonya
开加速往前怼。
Standing in the middle of 3 members,
哎，
looking
杀不
for
死
another drag, but Sonya just
格雷
does
曼
not
前
dare
面被
turn
抓
around
2次以
forward.
后怂
Divine
了，
Shield
不敢
is
上了。
also still ready.
这
Every
牛头
single
对于他的
ult
威胁
except
太
for
大，这样的话
Strafe
上路
is
赶紧守
still
吧，不守的话上路
available.
要掉
Sonya,
了。
of course, still with the active
你
wrap
去
is
守上
moving
路，
in
我就
again,
打中
but
间
they're。buying so much time, and the
好像
Cupid
放了
top
上路
lane is about to
掉就掉了
fall. It's definitely
It's
中间
going
不
to.
放。
Yeah, there is still a Web Weaver, so
下
he
路
is
呢？
going to
下路
fall
格雷
for
曼
sure.
守了一
Has
下
been，destroyed, and they can pressure even more here. They have their heroic still, and with Divine Shield and Mosh Pit still available, there's so much pressure against Team Wish where they have to be careful, especially since they already used Blessed Shield on Johanna.
Team Wish will be able to hold on to 2 keeps for now. Team Expert hoping to delete a little bit more on this keep on the bottom side. Bad Benny moving in, and as you mentioned, Heroics being up will make it a little difficult for Team Wish to engage this fight, but not going to grab a little bit too much. 15.5 here for Team Wish. They are half a level away from 16, which will be the chance for them to start fighting back against their opponent.
Yeah, right now with 16, 16 of course also amazing for Lucio alone. There's so many cool talents that they get on 16 that really help them, and they need to get them pretty fast if they want to have a chance here. So for now, we're having them just a little bit away from their next talent, and then they have 2 levels in which they
这种
can force fight on even
慢性
talents
死亡的
before
节奏啊。
against their storm talents on level 20. Only 1 keep down.
直斗机这波如果再打不过的话，这盘
So that is at
基本
least
上
a
就
bit
已
of a
经没
saving
戏了。
grace because
现在
we
是
ended up
2-8
fight
开吧
over，the boss and a bit of
下把团战再打
around
输
the
就
boss
是
area.
临时开
You。can defend the catapults that are coming in against your top lane.
boss 也在的，
Much
如果
more
打赢的话
annoying if it，was
可
the
以
bottom
教
keep
之
that
王
was
者
missing,
再拿一个
because
boss，
then
也
Team
许
Expert
上路
could
可以
set up a
破一
very
路。
strong position around the
但他要
boss,
比较
wait
完
until
美的
they
可
see
以
hero
击
back
杀
at
对
the bot
方
lane and then start to
超过
poke
两个人
even
才
with
可
the
以。
Haka and the global that Team Wish holds, it
哎，
would be
这
a
个
tough
格雷
situation.
曼
There's
你
the
这
root,
个
by the
位
way,
置，我
thanks
不
to
是说
level
你啊。
13 talent from AD Arian Stukov.
Mopsio taking some damage here from a thorough. Tahaka possibly wanting to come in. Yes, he does. Will use
卡
the
卡
brush
钻过来
down. Team，
能
Wish
舔
taking
个
this chance
僧牙，
to
但
fight.
是
They
爆
want
发
to
稍微
find
差了一
Sonya,
些。
but with Cleanse being used, she's just fine.
Yeah, this is the
后面这
fight
两
that
个
they
辅
want
助
and the fight that they need,
有
and
点
they're trying
强，
to make
消耗
it
能力
work
比较
right now.
强。
Sonya is under
卢西奥
pressure.
跟这两个
The
辅助
slows
消耗
are
有
gonna
点消耗
come
不
in
太
in just
过
a few seconds.
他
as
唯一
well,
的优点
and
就是
they're
有个加
starting to
速。
move in. There's 100 gems that Team Wish holds. It's nearly 2 turn-ins. If they get a turn-in, they should be able to get a second one after that. But in order to make it work, they need to win the team fight first. Bad Benny went in deep to go up against Poik. But at this point, Team Expert is starting to
给人买
Poik may have diving a little bit too far, followed up
这个
to a
隔离
close，
但是没有能够控到。
from Lenar is helping out a
哎，
lot
上
with
不
the
去
sounds coming out in that
交了这么多
choke.
大招
Team Wish has to pull
，4个大招。
Sound barrier
对方还有2个，关键是跳舞还在。
Yeah, the moment that we saw Grayman a little bit too far out, we actually had immediately Mopsio and Johanna committed to the best field, and at the same time we saw the Haka use isolation. That's also the moment when sound barriers popped. So
开 boss 就给了 Team Wish 机会。
They tried to go in. I feel the problem for them was why they moved back. Oh god.
哎呦，乔汉娜直接被秒了，你敢
That's
信
the
吗？
worst case. The problem why they disengaged was they didn't want to go into the choke point against Mosh Pit and Silence. I think that was the big thought process behind it. And now they're losing more than 50 gems here. They are about to lose the game. Vala, on the other hand, has been destroyed. Maybe. Oh god, that's 70 gems.
Oh boy, he's dead.
他这个天赋有点意思啊。
But no, he finally gets caught.
等于说现在斯托科夫这个天赋变成一个控制项的天赋，他主要是主 E 的控制和主 W。
They just had no heroic abilities, and with that, it was the perfect fight for Team Expert. They were desperate at this point, and you can already tell. Expert was actually moving towards core for a second. It was thinking, can we end here? And then I said, guys, it's only 17 minutes into the game. Death timers are low. They are just level 17. Let's play this safe. Let's claim the boss and then play around the boss and try to end with that. So now they are on 19, nearly 20. They can pick up some experience. That's why we're seeing Uther in the mid lane, trying to get some EXP. They're even delaying the capture on the boss to give him more time to go for the EXP so that they can fight with boss and storm talents and go for core.
And with Uther grabbing the experience in the middle here, that should be the 20. Boss has been grabbed. They can also grab it on the wave on the top side. Zomni goes for a drag, trying to force his fight before that 20 connects, but Team Expert is able to grab it. Team Wish.
宝石也掉光了，上面还有一组 BOSS， 会不会被一波呢？我觉得很有戏，20打17。
Vala is not there yet. They need to be a bit careful, and that gives time for Wish to poke the boss down, and they already have nearly a half HP as it finally arrives at the core. Isolation has been used. Cleanse is out. They're going in. Zarmani is already low. Could pop the essence. The drag is completely missing.
兵将强打，有无敌，格雷曼又懵逼了，直接死。乔汉娜也顶不住了。这样的话一波直接巡回演出，先杀卢笑呀。啊，没什么办法，还是 Expert 技高一筹，整个集火能力也稍微要强一些，而且Team Wish 这个阵容，它后面这个辅助啊，拿的不是很好。我觉得如果你要拿卢笑的话，你的就是输出的核心应该至少得有一个是在前排上。他前排一个乔汉娜加上一个是德哈卡吧，然后控制能力也不是很足，然后伤害也几乎没有。你卢笑的这个加速给格雷曼恩和小鹿的作用不是那么大，然后回血能力也不强，相比于对方的这个乌塞尔加上斯托科夫，消耗能力太弱了。拉起来的时候，明显你会感觉到他们是吃亏的，对吧？小鹿他伤害打上去，斯托科夫奶就回来了。